working to get the newly appointed congressional map appealed. They're going to the Utah Supreme Court.
By design or by default, Judge Gibson has authorized the most partisan and thus the most gerrymandered map in the history of the state of Utah. I assume she didn't intend or set out to gerrymander herself, but anyone who looks at the donut hole map sees very clearly it's gerrymandered.
The special session called by the governor will be in December. And our top national story this hour from ABC News. For the first time in history, retail sales for November and December in both physical stores and online are expected to top $1 trillion.
You've begun your holiday shopping when an ad for the perfect gift crosses your social media feed. Click the link and be taken to the seller's website. Maybe.
Cybercriminals create these very deceptive marketplaces for toys and presents.
Former FBI cybersecurity expert Eric O'Neill says the ad on your feed could be fake. So
look at the company that purports to be selling it and go directly to their website.
The Better Business Bureau says online purchase scams are among the most common reported by consumers. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Your money at this moment. The Dow is currently up 312 points. S&P is up 5. Coming up, we'll take a look at the traffic and weather. KSL Weather's next. KSL News Time 9:01.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Just how good is Pure Talk's current deal for unlimited wireless? Well, you might say it's the deal of your lifetime. Because right now, for just $29.95 a month, Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for life. Not your phone's life, your life. This is Pure Talk's top-tier plan. It comes with a crazy fast 5G network along with a 30-gig hotspot. And at just $29.95 a month, there has never been a better opportunity to lock in a ridiculously low rate for as long as you live. And save thousands and thousands of dollars along the way. This plan is normally $65 a month. But if you switch today, you will save over 50% every single month for the rest of your life. See what I mean? It really is the deal of your lifetime. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. Offer ends 12/7. Some restrictions apply. Details at puretalk.com.
Well, the holidays are really here. Things are speeding up. I know exactly what we all need to do, and that's head into the Western Nut Company. I'm here with Sarah, and you can take care of it all.
We love the holidays, and we try to make it seamless for our customers to enjoy our gift baskets and our fudge and our brittle and all the things that make it the holidays.
Western Nut is perfect for corporate giving and also for your family and your friends and your neighbors.
For corporate gifting, we have a team that's ready to take your list and ship it right from our store.
You know what I love is Dee and I go into Western Nut and the Mothership, which is right there on 4th and 3rd West, and we just let you guys take care of it all. We select the gift and you guys ship them off, especially to Dee's family in Missouri.
Western Nut's been doing this since 1966, and we've got it down. All the things that you need to cover everybody on your list.
A good place to start is by going online at westernnut.com. That's westernut.com.
There's no place like home, but home ownership is slipping away in Utah, and young Utahns are being priced out of their own communities. The U.S. economy is built on the idea that 30% of your income should go towards housing. But in Utah, families are spending nearly 66% just to keep a roof overhead. On top of that, the average homeowner in Utah has nearly $400,000 in net worth. For renters, it's barely $10,000. And with Utah already on track to be short more than 153,000 homes by 2030, that gap is only growing. Every community in Utah plays a part in finding solutions. More homes mean more opportunity for teachers, nurses, police officers, and every family that makes Utah what it is. Learn more about Utah's housing shortage and what we can do to begin to fix it at demandmoresupply.com. That's demandmoresupply.com. Make your voice heard right now. Log on to demandmoresupply.com. Demandmoresupply.com. Together, we can keep families close.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Let's check in with the KSL Traffic Center.
And we still have a crash in Kaysville, eastbound 200 north, just as you're getting off the freeway there on southbound 15. Northbound I-15 just discovered a brand new crash near Bangerter as you round the point in Bluffdale and Draper. We have sluggish speeds through there. That crash apparently is on the left side now, blocking the HOV lane and the far left lane. Otherwise, all clear on the belt routes, east and west, I-80 and the 201. Don't miss what the New York Times called the best nutcracker in the United States, November 28th through December 27th. Buy tickets now at balletwest.org. Steve Carlson in the KSL Traffic Center.
The temperatures are staying brisk today with a high of 46 and a low of 34. It'll be mostly sunny for the rest of the week until Saturday, when we could expect the season's first snow. Right now it's 35 degrees and partly cloudy. I'm Alexandria Bonilla. From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
As we were preparing for the show today, the Utah legislature, at least some leadership with the legislature, met at a press conference. It started at 8:30 this morning. President Stuart Adams from the Senate spoke. Speaker Schultz from the House spoke. And what they spoke about, Holly, was, I think, not unexpectedly, but some plans to deal with this gerrymandering map and where we're going to be as early as 2026. It's not like they're waiting until 2028. They're talking about making some changes now and doing some things so that the ballot, as it comes out in 2026, is different than what is currently being proposed by the Better Boundaries and the judge in her case.
Well, look, I think calling it the most gerrymandered map in the history of the state of Utah depends on what side of the map you stand on.
Yeah, it's in the eyes of the beholder. And I think that a lot of people felt that the map that was used last legislative session was the most gerrymandered map in the history of the state of Utah. And I again, it's you could look at it from whichever way you look at it. It you can say that it's gerrymandered. I mean, certainly the way Salt Lake County was divided 4 ways in the previous map was problematic. And now what they're looking at is what they call the donut hole, which is a really highly, well, not highly, but probably Democratic area that's been carved out of the entire state, leaving the rest of the state probably more Republican leaning than they've been than the districts have been in the past.
Well, even the map proposed by the legislature through this redistricting process with the court case was considered to be, by the judge, considered to be gerrymandered. But President Stuart Adams, as you mentioned, called it a very gerrymandered map, the one that the judge ended up choosing.
By design or by default, Judge Gibson has authorized the most partisan and thus the most gerrymandered map in the history of the state of Utah.
It troubles me a little bit that the judge herself was repeatedly called out in this context and
by name.
I just feel awful for her, and I know her because of my practice of law. I don't know her personally, but I mean, the judiciary had to make a decision here. She had a decision to make based on a case that was presented to her, not that she chose by any means. Wrote a 91-page opinion. I mean, people don't agree with it. You'd expect one side or the other to disagree with it, but to continue to hammer her personally was certainly problematic for me, just as an attorney. I also understand the legislatures. They hearken back to this legislative. Constitutional amendment that seems to imply, at least to them, if you read it very strictly, that the legislature draws the maps, period.
Right. I think the issue is there are 2 parts of the Utah Constitution, and that's what the judge pointed out in, I think, her August ruling, that there were 2 parts. And the second part of the Utah Constitution gives the public the ability to create and affect their form of government. And that means the Citizens Initiative and the Utah Constitution. So one of the things that they said at this press conference is that they plan to put a constitutional amendment on the 2026 ballot. By the way, they're having a special session. Yeah, you said that, on December 9th. They're planning to put a constitutional amendment on the 2026 ballot. It has to be voted on by 2/3 of both bodies, so 2/3 of the House, 2/3 of the Senate. Then it has to be put on the ballot for members of the public to vote on. And what this will do is get members of the public. What they hope to get is members of the public to say, we do not want to be able to weigh in on redistricting, that is something left exclusively to the legislature.
Right. And Adams spoke about sort of two ways that they're going to attack this. One is that they do still plan to appeal.
That's why we're appealing to the Utah Supreme Court and preparing the appeal right now. We urge the district court to issue its final ruling quickly, so we can use all the options and tools available to us as we appeal that decision to the Supreme Court. It is planned that the governor will call a special session on December 9th to put in place the process we'll follow. It is our intent to have the case appealed to the Utah Supreme Court promptly so the public and candidates can have clarity.
So with respect to that appeal, before we get to the planned constitutional amendment, it was a little bit unexpected for me personally, because I thought the judge's ruling was out there and people kept wondering and asking, why didn't they file an appeal? President Adams seems to imply we can't appeal because she hasn't issued the final ruling. And under the law, you can rarely appeal temporary or sort of
an emergency
appeal.
Right,
right, yeah. You wait until there's a final ruling, then there's nothing else that can be done, and then you can appeal it. So that was a little bit of a surprise to me. They're waiting for her to issue some sort of a decision. I don't know what else it would be.
So I can clarify that.
Okay.
I think. So one of the issues that happens, especially when you use computer programs to draw maps, like what happened, is that you sometimes get little tweaks that need to happen, including a line that, for example, went through a house. So clearly that's not something that is feasible. And so they had to just do a couple of adjustments. And so that process was sent back to the judge for her final ruling, right? To just clarify there's just a couple of tweaks. I think there were 8 total small tweaks that had to happen. So that final decision, I would expect any day. But again, also you have this issue of timing for the 2026 election. So that's an interesting.
Yeah, and again, like you mentioned a minute ago, Adams also announced a plan for a constitutional amendment for the 2026 ballot.
We cannot continue relying solely on reactive, case-by-case responses of the court. That is not the best way for the state of Utah to be governed. We need help from the citizens of Utah. Their clear voice needs to be heard. That's why we're preparing a constitutional amendment for the 2026 ballot. The amendment will clarify the Constitution that addresses the growing concern that ballot initiatives can override the Utah Constitution in ways that cannot be adjusted when the language is unconstitutional or conflicts with other state laws or creates non-practical challenges. Utah deserves a process that is clear, functional, and accountable.
There just has been a problem with these ballot initiatives in terms of the legislature's response to them. And I can understand the legislature saying, look, we're elected to pass laws. Why are the citizens doing that? The citizens coming in and saying, well, every once in a while you don't do what we think is right. And so the citizens can pass these ballot initiatives. They've been quite rare, and the legislature has had the ability to tweak them and to before they're enacted, and maybe some of the issues are that the legislature's gone a little too far in their tweaks. But we still, I mean, I don't know that we're going to do away with ballot initiatives.
Well, I think the legislature has made the bar really high. They continue to change it, and now this constitutional amendment would ask, I think, the citizens of the state of Utah to give away their ability to change, basically governance. And that has existed in the Utah Constitution, as I understand it, since the founding of the state.
Right.
But there also was part of this press conference where both the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate continued to say the voice of the people has not been heard. I would argue that it was heard in 2018 when Proposition 4 was passed. So when we come back after the break, we're actually going to get the Executive Director of Better Boundaries to give us their take.
Hard to believe, but Black Friday's here, and you know what that means. It's time for Black Friday money deals at UCCU.
There is an annual tradition now for Black Friday at UCCU where people look forward to, because unlike other Black Friday sales, Black Friday at UCCU is your chance to actually improve your finances.
Like a home equity loan with extra 0.25% off the intro rate, auto and RV loans with no payment for 90 days, low-rate credit cards with 0% interest for 6 months, and $150 cash just for signing up for direct deposit.
It's so easy, and that's just the beginning of Black Friday money deals. Keep going to uccu.com every week for new premium deals that will unlock, and they're things like cutting your auto loan rate in half to earning a higher interest rate on your savings. Enter each week for a chance to win these awesome prizes.
But you got to visit uccu.com every week, but if you come back and enter every time a new deal unlocks, you can win them all. So don't just enter once, go every week, unlock every deal, and win big this Black Friday at UCCU.
UCCU, you're going to love where you bank.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
Did you work in uranium before 1990? Then you need to know that RECA is back. You may now qualify for compensation of $100,000. We provide the best in-home care for former energy workers. CNS Cares can guide you to the resources you need to file a claim. Call CNS Cares to find out if you are eligible. Let's make sure you get all the care and support you deserve. Call 855-CNS-RECA today.
Do you have chirping smoke detectors? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you've ever experienced chirping smoke detectors, you already know how annoying it can be. A great first step to try and stop the chirping is to change the batteries. If the chirping continues, it's possible that your smoke detector has gone bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't even realize that manufacturers recommend replacing the smoke detector altogether after 10 years. If you remove the smoke detector from the wall, on the back you should find a date of when it was made. Do a little math and you'll know how old it is. Now, Any Hour Services knows being a homeowner means you've got a list a mile long of things to do around the house, and check my electrical system probably isn't one of them. That's why we've put together this radio special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive inspection of your electrical system that includes testing those smoke detectors and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. Call Any Hour Services to schedule at 801-443-7300. 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Advanced Window Products offers grabber window covers. High-end quality with the best warranty. Save 30% off when you mention KSL. 801-850-9100 or advancedwindows.com.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they going to know?
Talk. They hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
People think saving money is hard, but really, it's easy. It's as simple as changing a few spending habits. For free tips on how to save the easy way, check out feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
The new Inside Sources.
Following up with our response to the the press conference, which the legislature gave at 8:30 this morning, we had Speaker of the House and President of the Senate both address how they intend to deal with this ballot initiative process, which has now become a court order redistricting the state in a way that would, if nothing happens, and something certainly is going to happen in light of what we just heard, there would be a fairly significantly different legislative boundary than we've had in the past, not the least of which included they call it the donut hole out of Salt Lake County, which would be an area, just looking at the number of Democrats that have already announced that they want to run, I think there are 4, certainly has given Democrats some hope that there is one district in Utah that could lean that way.
So what's interesting to me is during that press conference, they continued to say that the judge, and they called her out by name, has created chaos by this map, her legal ruling on this map, and then ordering the lieutenant governor to implement this map, that has created chaos. And yet it seems also confusing and maybe chaotic would be the right word to say that they don't believe that there's clarity on which maps will be used for the 2026 election.
Right. And he also said that this whole thing was never the intent of Better Boundaries in the first place.
This was never the original intent of Better Boundaries and Proposition 4. You now have people like Blake Moore, who was the co-chair of Better Boundaries at the time, come out and say that this was never the intent. Judge Gibson has taken this and blown this out of the water. The intent was never to take away the constitutional authority of the legislature. The intent that was the redistricting commission, independent redistricting commission, was to be advisory to the legislature. Never, and nowhere does it say in the Constitution, nowhere does it say in Proposition 4, nowhere in any part of code or any part of statute does it give one judge the ability to pick a map for the people of Utah.
So we have with us on the line Elizabeth Rasmussen. She's the executive director of Better Boundaries. What is your response to that?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I watched the press conference this morning, and overall, I wish there was a little more accountability on the part of the legislature. This has been a fight that's going on for nearly 8 years now, and it's been fought every step of the way. And what has happened with this court-selected map is not unprecedented. Actually, the Utah Supreme Court and the U.S. Supreme Court have all ruled on this question before, and this has happened in other states as well, where a court has to step in to put in a compliant map. It's happened in Alabama, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, New York, Virginia, and Texas. And so it's disappointing there's not more accountability and that we've had to go through this process for so long. And that's basically my initial reaction.
I have a question for you also. It seems to me like there is so much uncertainty really with this judge has issued a ruling. She has ordered the lieutenant governor to implement the boundaries of the map. And yet I'm hearing legislative leadership say, well, it's not certain which map is going to be in play for 2026. And there seems to be some thought maybe that, like, I don't understand the timing. Can you help us understand maybe what their arguments are for saying that this map is not actually the map?
Well, without knowing exactly what their inside conversations are, it sounds like they're really counting on an appeal to go quickly so that they can first be successful in that appeal and then replace the map in time for the 2026 elections. At least from our perspective, that's kind of a long shot. We're getting close to the end of the year. Candidate filings are coming up, so you'd have to then have a conversation. Do we move candidate filings? And so I think they're really banking on being able to appeal quickly and being successful in that appeal. But the timeline is the tricky part there.
Elizabeth, what does this all say in terms of the bigger picture about ballot initiatives and the right of the citizens in Utah, at least to have some control over their own destiny? I mean, they have been fairly rare, but it seems that the legislature is not happy with where they're going, and maybe even moving, when we talk about constitutional amendments, toward making it much more difficult, if not impossible, for citizen ballot initiatives in the future.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's already very hard to pass ballot initiatives in Utah. Just qualifying for the ballot is very difficult. And so there's a high threshold for passage and qualifying for the ballot. What I keep thinking about when they're talking about amplifying the voices of the people is that when people are frustrated with the legislature and see that they're not acting in ways that they want them to, I mean, the ballot initiative is a last resort. I mean, people don't just go and say, let's run something. I mean, it takes time, it takes money, it takes all these things. And so when we don't feel our legislature is accountable to us, that representative government is working, we have the right to check them. That's a constitutional right. And so that's why Prop 4 came about, because we felt we weren't represented because of the way the boundaries were drawn. And so that's why we had this ballot initiative. And then they've continued to reinforce that idea that they don't care about our voices by fighting it every step of the way. And so it's just been it's been disappointing. It's been confusing. And I wish the legislature would just take more accountability in their part in getting us to where we are right now.
I'm wondering, Elizabeth, if you could talk to us maybe about the your reaction when you heard President Adams say that the public had no opportunity to weigh in on this. What were your thoughts when he said that?
So first, I can empathize with people who are frustrated with the map. And maybe I shouldn't say that, but I can, because I really do value competitiveness in maps and in districts. But this map does create three very safe Republican districts and one safe Democratic district. Is that more aligned with voting data in Utah? Yes, it is. But there is still some concern that way. And so I do empathize with that. However, we had so much public comment when they were going through this remedy process that wasn't heard and people didn't feel listened to. And so a court implementing a map only happens when the legislature fails to follow the law. And that, again, is backed by precedent after precedent. It's happened in other states. This isn't something new. And so that's the frustration here, is the legislature just needed to follow Prop 4 and not substantively change it every opportunity they could, but they didn't. And so that's why we're here 8 years later having this whole thing play out in front of us, and people are confused, people are frustrated, and I share that frustration. I just wish we could have solved this back in 2020, not in 2025.
We're joined this morning by Elizabeth Rasmussen, Executive Director of Better Boundaries. And with respect to Better Boundaries, Speaker Schultz did say that this whole thing, and we played his soundbite earlier right when we started this, Elizabeth, that this whole thing was never the intent of Better Boundaries. I mean, without comment necessarily on that, what was the intent of Better Boundaries if it wasn't to redistrict?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Better Boundaries' intent has always been about process and about fairness and amplifying Utah voters' voices. And as someone who lives in Utah, grew up in Utah, has worked for 2 Utah politicians and just loves this state, I echo those sentiments that I believe that we need a process for fairness. We need a process where people feel like their voices are heard, and that issues like affordable housing or inflation or all these things aren't just pushed to the sidelines because we don't have that fair representation that people want. And so that's still the main goal of Better Boundaries. I know news and media likes to talk about the outcomes of these things, but if you look at what we've said and what we've done, we have been focused on process. And that's still the intent today, and that's what I'm committed to following.
I have one really quick question. What is your initial response to this special session where they want to get a constitutional amendment on the ballot where basically people will agree to give away their voice?
The first reaction was it felt like history was repeating itself. We saw this happen in 2024 where we had the special session for Amendment D, which was ultimately not on the ballot that year because of some issues with how it was worded and public notice requirements. So it seems like we're just repeating the same errors over and over again instead of just trying to do something new that actually serves Utahns. Everything that's happening right now, it's just not serving Utahns. And I wish that we could just come together and really figure out how we can make this process work, because the election's so important. I mean, people have real problems that they want solved. And so the fact that we spent 8 years on this issue is just really frustrating. Can we just get back to what people really care about and just listening to voters' voices? And so that's, I just wish we wouldn't just keep repeating the same mistakes.
Thank you, Elizabeth. That was Elizabeth Rasmussen, Executive Director of Better Boundaries. And I have to say, Holly, this is really, for me, as an attorney, as a politician, it's a fascinating civics lesson that I think our whole state, and I hope that a lot of our high school and college teachers are talking about this right now in their schools. We're going to be talking with a Utah Democratic lawmaker after the break, Doug Owens, who was a member of the Legislative Redistricting Committee, to get his take on this. Stay with us.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Senate President Stuart Adams confirmed lawmakers are working to get the newly appointed congressional map appealed, and they are going to the Utah Supreme Court. Adams, along with Speaker Schultz, held a press conference to break the news, adding that the governor will be announcing a special session to address it in December. Utah Democrats are reacting to the attempt to appeal, saying the Utah Senate and House Democrats condemn the call for a special session over redistricting, and it is fiscally irresponsible to use taxpayer dollars to fight the legal battle. Our top story this hour nationally from ABC News, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly is under investigation by the Pentagon after releasing a video alongside other lawmakers reminding U.S. service members to refuse illegal orders. ABC News Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has more.
Kelly is the only one of the 6 lawmakers to be investigated by the Pentagon because, unlike the other military veterans, Kelly is retired and receiving benefits and still subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
President Trump has since publicly called the actions taken seditious. Your money at this moment, after some initial hesitancy, the Dow up 345 points, that's 0.75% to 46,793. Coming up, it's going to be cool today, a little bit warmer tomorrow, and then a bunch warmer on Thursday. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
$1.5 trillion is parked on the sidelines. Projects that would help create good-paying American jobs are stuck in years of burdensome reviews. Permitting reform would unlock over 650 major U.S. infrastructure projects, from new roads and bridges to bringing more energy online. With faster, more efficient permitting, we can unleash America's economic potential. Let's move from waiting to building. Ready, set, let's build. Paid for by Business Roundtable.
Experience the timeless Christmas classic that has captivated audiences nationwide. From the Michael McLean family to your family. See The Forgotten Carols musical. With an unforgettable story and songs that are a Christmas tradition, come meet our next generation and share the magic of Christmas in Orem, Salt Lake City, Ogden, Tooele, Logan, and Saratoga Springs. Tickets at ForgottenCarols.com.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Imagine struggling with a slow, outdated computer that takes forever to load anything, that randomly freezes up and is filled with viruses and malware.
Now picture yourself with a powerful desktop or laptop that runs smoothly and efficiently, making your work and entertainment seamless. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Let's check in with Steve Carlson.
And in Davis County, we still have a city street crash clearing right now. This is in Kaysville on 200 North, just as you're getting off southbound 15 and heading east. That right lane still blocked. Plus a crash on eastbound I-80 at 8000 West. Otherwise, both directions, 515 rolling at normal speeds. We're crash-free between Spanish Fork and Ogden. Steve Carlson at the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, temperatures staying brisk today with a high of 46, a low of 34. Mostly sunny all week until Saturday, when we may be expecting the season's first snow. Right now, it is partly cloudy and 36 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, Utah Republican lawmakers and state leaders packed the state capitol this morning for a press conference announcing their plan to appeal the latest ruling that rejected Utah's newly drawn congressional maps.
By design or by default, Judge Gibson has authorized the most partisan and thus the most gerrymandered map in the history of the state of Utah.
That was Senate President Stuart Adams, and what they announced at this press conference is that the governor will be calling them into special session on December 9th. They plan to fully appeal versus an emergency appeal because they say that that will give them a better opportunity to lay out all of their arguments. They think they're winning arguments. They're trying to get it to the Utah Supreme Court. I think it's a little confusing, honestly, on the timing because they seem to indicate that maybe this map will not actually be in effect for 2026. And we're joined right now by a Democratic lawmaker, Representative Doug Owens, who is a member of the Legislative Redistricting Committee. Welcome, Representative. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Doug, what was your take on the press conference this morning? Was you surprised at all?
Yeah. Frankly, I felt like they kept talking about there not being adequate, that there was confusion. There's no confusion. Okay, the court considered two maps, one proposed by the legislature that she found had been politically tainted. I think the Republicans were let down by their expert who did inject some partisan criteria. So she didn't select that map. She selected a different map that had been proposed by the plaintiffs that frankly falls into a big group of neutral maps. And so there was no confusion. We have a map. The lieutenant governor's implementing it for next year's election. And the leadership on the other side of the aisle kept saying there's a lot of confusion. We got to clarify. I felt like we didn't get clarity on what they want to do other than that they're going to appeal the decision. And I'm not sure what's going to be on the ballot what's going to be on the agenda for the special session. So I didn't think there was clarity being offered. And so, yeah, I was surprised, Greg.
And speaking of confusion, and luckily you're a very well-known attorney, there seems to be some confusion about the language of Article 9 of the Constitution. The legislature seems to take that to mean the legislature draws the maps, period. But it's not that simple, is it?
No, because there's the Constitution as a whole. It has a bunch of clauses, and another clause says that the people can alter or reform their government, and that's what Proposition 4 did. Proposition 4 still lets the legislature draw the boundaries. It's just Proposition 4 said you can't do it for political reasons. You have to draw neutral boundaries that try to keep cities and counties together and stuff like that. That was other things other than party. And what the judge found is that the legislature, when it drew that map a month ago, or she said that map had taken into account illegally partisan criteria. So she said, I can't do that map. I'm going to do the next best thing, which is I'm going to take this other map that does comply with Prop 4. So, yeah, it wasn't as simple as just saying the legislature draws the maps. They don't get to draw any map they want anymore. The Supreme Court said Proposition 4 is the law of the land, and the legislature needs to have some guardrails on how it draws the maps.
Representative, could you, if it's not too wonky, could you break down for us where this judge found the conflict, right? Because there is a part that says, I think it's Article 9, as Greg mentioned, that says that the Utah legislature shall draw redistricting maps. But when she referenced, I think in her August decision, she referenced a different part because of Proposition 4, and that's what she really relied on in her ruling. Are you able to break that down for us?
Well, yeah, I don't have the Constitution in front of me, but I think it's the second article that says the people can alter or reform their government. And what the Supreme Court said is the people had done that with Proposition 4. Hopefully I'm answering your question. I'm trying not to be too wonky. So, yeah, so what the Supreme Court said is the legislature can still even change Prop 4 if there's a compelling government reason to change Prop 4. And there was no compelling reason to change it, so that means that the legislature can still draw maps as long as it doesn't get partisan when it does it. And so then the court said, well, I'm looking at this map you drew. I'm listening to the testimony from your expert, Sean Trendy. It sounds like he did apply partisan criteria. So she's just trying to follow the law, the judge, and it's important that we understand that. This is not a judge taking the law into her own hands. She's just trying to follow the law.
Doug, I know it's only been about an hour since the press conference, but what do you expect in terms of an anticipated special session on December 9th?
Well, I was listening very intently for that, Greg, and the only thing I heard was that they're going to put on the ballot an initiative to clarify or to take away, to do a constitutional amendment that in some way will undo the Supreme Court and the District Court saying that Proposition 4 is the law of the land, that it can be, that the people's right to alter or reform their government can in fact put guardrails around the legislature's ability to draw congressional districts. So that was the only thing I heard. I don't understand the necessity of doing that in special session. There was also a hint dropped about maybe changing the deadlines for people to run for office. So they may still think they can do an end run around the court giving the map to the lieutenant governor in time to have it on the ballot for next fall. It may be that they think they can push that deadline back, but I didn't hear clarity about that.
I wonder if in the last minute that we have also if you could speak to your response to this proposal that they're saying that they want to put a constitutional amendment on the ballot for 2026. What's your understanding of what that amendment would do?
Well, I think, first of all, I don't understand the necessity of doing that in a special session. That could be done in the regular session in January, but I think they want to just clarify that what the Supreme Court had said, that Proposition 4 was to be considered the law of the land under the clause that allows the people to alter or reform their government, that would not be interpreted to constrain the legislature as it draws boundaries. In other words, the people could not say to the legislature, you can still draw boundaries, but you can't apply politics. I think they want to undo that Supreme Court decision.
Yeah, I mean, there's another ballot initiative actually in play right now to completely undo Prop 4. But
they're attacking every chance they get. And really, what I think people need to understand is the Prop 4 just says don't draw political boundaries. Draw boundaries that make sense from the municipal and these other neutral criteria apply these neutral criteria and don't mess around with politics anymore. And that's such a great idea in our time, and it's really not this horrible thing that the judge was trying to do that.
So thank you for joining us. That was Representative Doug Owens, and he's a member of the Legislative Redistricting Committee. House Speaker Mike Schultz will join midday with Maria Chaleos today at 1:15, so you'll want to make sure to tune in then. But next on the line with us, we have Senator Todd Weiler, a Republican, who will join us.
Hi, this is Doug Ryden. For years, I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
This holiday season, give the gift of love that lasts a lifetime with Duke's Jewelers. For over 75 years, the Dukes family has been part of Utah Valley's story, helping yours celebrate life's most cherished moments since 1948. Dukes is more than a jewelry store. They're craftsmen, creating timeless pieces and custom designs that capture the magic of the holidays. Whether it's a sparkling necklace, a custom ring, or restoring a family heirloom, Duke's Jewelers pours their heart into every gift, because jewelry isn't just about sparkle, it's about love and legacy. This Christmas, make your loved one feel like part of the Dukes family. Find the perfect gift at Duke's Jewelers, located at 220 South Main in Springville, or shop online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, celebrating love and tradition since 1948.
Just how good is Pure Talk's current deal for unlimited wireless? Well, you might say it's the deal of your lifetime. Because right now, for just $29.95 a month, Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for life. Not your phone's life, your life. This is Pure Talk's top-tier plan. It comes with a crazy fast 5G network along with a 30-gig hotspot. And at just $29.95 a month, there has never been a better opportunity to lock in a ridiculously low rate for as long as you live. And save thousands and thousands of dollars along the way. This plan is normally $65 a month, but if you switch today, you will save over 50% every single month for the rest of your life. See what I mean? It really is the deal of your lifetime. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. Offer ends 12/7. Some restrictions apply. Details at puretalk.com.
They all laughed when I suggested Fat Cats for our next movie night. They show movies at Fat Cats, was the reply. Then they walked into Fat Cat's luxury movie theater. Huge screens, Dolby sound, and every seat a luxury recliner. And to take it up a notch, we all ordered food from the Fat Cat's grill and had it delivered right to our seats without extra charges. Nothing feels better than relaxing in a comfy recliner and eating a hand-tossed pizza or freshly grilled burger. Even the desserts were out of this world. Our movie nights will never be the same. If you've got friends like mine, bring them to Fat Cats, Utah's newest chain of luxury theaters. Every Tuesday, tickets are $5. But at Fat Cats on Mondays, tickets are $5 with a Gold Cat membership. Want to achieve a neighborhood hero status like me? Bring them to Fat Cats. With locations along the Wasatch Front, there's one near you. Find movie times and locations at fatcatsfun.com. fatcatsfun.com.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. Be the someone who gives their time. Be the someone who lends an ear. Be the someone who takes a step. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN, asking you to join the fight against sexual violence and volunteer in your community. Log on to RAIN.org, that's RAINN.org, to learn how you can be the someone.
This message brought to you by the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network and this station.
Inside Sources.
As a follow-up from the press conference this morning with the Utah legislature, we've been trying to get response from both sides, both for the plaintiff side and the defense side, and sort of the legal take on this whole thing, because ballot initiatives, and more importantly for this, redistricting in Utah has become a huge thing. I mean, it's actually, redistricting has become a huge thing nationwide.
Yeah, for sure.
Utah is just one little, we're talking about one district in one state, but it's drawn a lot of attention within the state, within the country. And to help us break it down, we have Utah Senator Todd Weiler with us, who is also an incredibly good lawyer. And I go to him for legal updates on things. And he was teasing me before the press conference today because I was trying to figure out what it was about, but he wouldn't tell me. Todd, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks, Greg. Hi, Holly.
Hi, Senator. Hey, look, so we've heard from Better Boundaries. We've heard from Representative Doug Owens. We've also heard, of course, from the Speaker of the House and President of the Senate. Just tell us, what is the goal of the Utah legislature right now? Is it to overturn the map that the judge has declared should be implemented?
Well, I think the ultimate goal, Holly, is to follow the state constitution and to uphold the rights of the people, who elected the legislature to do the legislative functions under our government. But the short-term goal is to get a final ruling from Judge Gibson so that we can do a proper appeal to the Utah Supreme Court. And so there are some pending motions. The plaintiffs, every time we turn around, the plaintiffs file an amended complaint and want to expand, the lawsuit that they started 3 or 4 years ago. And so, she's pretty much done with her work. There's an issue of attorney's fees to be decided. There's some other pending motions, but we want her to wrap up the work so that we can do the appeal.
Can I ask you just a follow-up question about the wrapping up? Because I thought there was kind of a final decision on the...
No. No, the case. There's no final judgment to appeal yet. So the only way we could appeal today is an interlocutory appeal, which would keep the case open until that appeal was decided.
So what is the judge waiting on at this point, or what are you waiting on, I guess?
Well, I think that there are a few pending motions, and there's going to be a motion for attorney's fees. So that's what we need to wrap her up. And I think she could issue a final judgment on the claims that she's decided, and I think she could bifurcate the attorney's fees issue and let that run its course over the next couple of months.
So some of the, I wouldn't say criticism, but some of the concern that people have had is why there wasn't an appeal filed immediately after the judge's ruling. There was some discussion that it was 20 minutes before the deadline or something like that. But what you're saying...
19 minutes before the deadline.
Okay, yeah.
So, just so we're clear, she issued her latest ruling on 11:41 p.m. on November 10th, and that was after the lieutenant governor had extended the deadline to November 10th. And so, and then, of course, November 11th was Veterans Day. So by waiting until almost midnight, she basically, cost the county clerks another full day.
But even that wasn't what we're describing now as the final ruling. That's what we need to wait for, because we typically think of appeals, unless, like you said a minute ago, interlocutory or something like that, as being wait until you get the final judgment and then file the appeal. And what we're hearing today, and I guess what you're reiterating, Todd, is that there absolutely will be an appeal filed as soon as that final judgment is issued.
Yeah, and an interlocutory appeal. I mean, look, we asked for a stay from Judge Gibson and from the Supreme Court back in September when she first ruled that that the map that we've been using for the last 4 years was unconstitutional. Both of those stays were denied, and so we have the choice now of doing another doing an interlocutory appeal, which is an appeal without a final judgment, but for various reasons. We've decided that we want her to wrap up her work, so that we can do a full appeal and not an emergency appeal.
So can I ask you a question about timing? So
yeah,
a full appeal, and you guys are the attorneys, not me. A full appeal goes to the Utah Supreme Court. Hopefully, I'm sure you're hoping that they rule really quickly. And does that look like by the end of the year really quickly? And would the legislature maybe move the filing period to after the legislature, giving more time for this to be resolved?
So there are some discussions about moving the filing period back. Now, remember, traditionally in Utah, the filing period was around the first week of March or second week of March. And then when we initiated the signature path, then there was a bifurcated filing period. So if you were filing as a signature candidate, you'd file in early January and start collecting your signatures, and everyone else would file in March. And then we made the decision starting in January of 2026, everyone would file the first week of January. And so there is some discussion about moving that filing period back to March, which would give an extra 2 months for some of this to be sorted out. And Holly, here's the $64,000 question. Do all of the filing periods get moved to March, or do just the filing periods for the 4 congressional seats get moved to March? And that's going to have to be sorted out between now and December 9th.
And December 9th, Todd, is a date that you believe, and a lot of legislators believe, that the governor will set for a special session. He hasn't had his monthly press conference yet. We expect that later this morning, but it seems like he may be setting or at least asking for a special session. Is that your understanding?
Yeah. So President Adams, the Senate president, announced this morning that there would be a special session called by the governor December 9th. And let me just say, he would not have said that if that were not an agreement that had already been reached.
So again, I'll ask you another follow-up question on the timing here. So it does feel like it's pretty confusing whether we're going to have the map that the judge ordered be implemented or maybe some other map. If the Utah Supreme Court weighs in on the side of the judge, in other words, denies the appeal for the Utah legislature, is the plan then to go to the U.S. Supreme Court?
So the U.S. Supreme Court would only have jurisdiction over the congressional maps. They wouldn't have the final arbiter of the meaning of the Utah Constitution would be the Utah Supreme Court. So the congressional maps are obviously federal elections. So if the U.S. Supreme Court believed that something had happened in Utah that violated the U.S. Constitution or somehow the federal election laws, then they could weigh in, I believe, on those congressional maps. But the U.S. Supreme Court would expect the state to go through the full appeal with the Utah Supreme Court before going and jumping directly to the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, on your question, I believe if there is a final judgment entered, there may be a motion, and this is speculation, there may be a motion by the attorneys to put a stay on the new map, the map that Judge Gibson chose that went through no public hearings and had no public input. And if the Utah Supreme Court put a stay on that map, I think they would have a few choices. They could go back to the maps that we've used for the last 4 years. They could go to Map C, which the legislature just passed in October and I believe complies with Prop 4, or they could tell the legislature to draw a new map real quick, which I'm now being told, now that we've gone through this exercise in September, that could be done, probably in a matter of days, but then we would want some public input on that as well.
One really quick question, Senator. We talked at the beginning of this segment about redistricting from the national level, and we know that President Trump has been really interested in finding additional Republican seats. Are you feeling pressure from the White House?
No, I'm not personally. I know that the White House has called and asked some questions to Utah about what the heck is going on. Now, President Trump cannot find any additional seats in Utah because we've had 4 Republicans in the House for the past couple of years, since I guess 2020, and so you can't turn 4 into 5. We can't just. And I actually have had some citizens reach out to me and say, "Well, just draw a 5th district," and if it were only that simple. And so, but I think they are concerned about losing one of the 4 seats that they've had, and they don't. I think they wanted some clarification as to what is going on, because normally you don't have a judge who not only redraws the boundaries but just makes one of the most gerrymandered district in the country. And if this is a Kamala Harris, so the map she picked from the Mormon Women for Ethical Government, the little donut hole that is being called Congressional District 1, it was a Kamala Harris plus 24 map in a state that overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump. And so it would be one of the most liberal districts in the country. I mean, we're talking New York, California, and then by packing most of the Democrats into that district, it makes the other 3 the remaining districts 3 of the most Republican, most red districts in the entire country. That's what the map she picked does, and that's one of the reasons why there's so much outrage.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. That was Senator Todd Weiler. Stay with us over the break. We're going to talk about Olympics when we come back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10:01 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour: only 2 ski resorts will be open for Thanksgiving Day and weekend. Others have been forced to move their opening dates back. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Solitude has continued to remain optimistic, keeping their opening date for this Thanksgiving after pushing it back, saying they've been running their snowmaking machines as much as weather allows. Bryan Head in southern Utah is the only resort open ahead of the holiday, with a total of 4 inches of snow at the base.
Maybe we'll see those resorts open in the coming weeks. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says there's a slight chance of snow early next week.
Sunday, I've got 39 for a high, 40% chance for a snow shower. Now you head into Monday, partly cloudy at 38. So travel-wise, first half of the week looks dry and pretty easy.
Utahns can expect a mostly dry holiday this week. Your money at this moment, the Dow up 383 points to 46,831. Coming up, speaking of weather, we've got the warmest temperatures of the week coming on Thanksgiving. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time 10:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
John, what are you doing? Get in my car. So why are you walking to work?
Thanks, man. It's these insanely high gas prices. They're draining my bank account. I can't afford to drive anymore.
Dude, don't walk. Just do what I do, because I never pay full price for gas anymore. I use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Oh, wait. You're telling me you get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PROFIT for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's promo code PROFIT. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PROFIT for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PROFIT.
Most folks wait till January to say, I should probably fix this or do something about how you feel. But you know what? You're going to go into 2026 with the resolution already done, because soda helps you lose the weight now, so your New Year's all celebration.
You and I both started our soda weight loss journey in October and November, right? And I loved going into holiday parties knowing I had a plan. It wasn't just, I'm going to try not to. It was, this is my plan, because I've spoken with a nutritionist and I get a jump start on that, first of the year goal by beginning Soda Weight Loss right now.
Yeah, there's no guesswork. You're supported every step of the way, and you need that. And right now, there's an amazing offer from Soda for you and your partner. You join, and your partner joins for free.
So why gain 20 pounds just to lose it in the new year? Go to Soda Weight Loss today and begin today.
That's sodaweightloss.com, SOTA weightloss.com, because Soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Steve Carlson.
Well, looks like northbound 15 still a bit heavy, rounding the point of the mountain into Draper and at 33rd South. Otherwise, the rest of I-15, I-80, and the belt routes all rolling along crash-free with normal speeds. Bad weather and parking lots love GoPave Utah. GoPave Utah loves snow. Don't wait for the bad weather. Schedule your snow removal service with GoPave Utah. That's GoPaveUtah.com. Steve Carlson in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today, cold again. Highs in the upper 40s. Temperatures will get a little warmer in the coming days in the 50s, including a high of 56 on Thanksgiving. Some snow could make an appearance by Sunday. Right now, it's 37 degrees and cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Let's break away from redistricting and talk about the Olympics, because yesterday, Holly, marked 3,000 days before the Utah Winter Games, which are scheduled to begin in 2034. A lot has happened in terms of preparation for those games, including the name of the games. It's a little bit of a surprise to some people, I think.
It was. It is not the Salt Lake City Games. It is the Utah Games. Utah.
And I think about that. Let me just sort of digress a little bit. A lot of big cities, like you have the New York Yankees or the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Right.
But the Jazz are the Utah Jazz. They're not the Salt Lake Jazz.
But some people argue they should be the Salt Lake Jazz. Just saying.
Maybe so. And the Mammoth, the Utah Mammoth.
Right.
And it's in part because Salt Lake is big, but it's not New York. It's not Chicago. It's not the type of city that alone can carry the weight of some of these national sports events like the Olympics.
Okay, but
I
to
just
be
think
fair,
making it more statewide makes more sense.
To be fair, the Paris Olympics were the Paris Olympics, right? It's a city. It wasn't the France Olympics or whatever their counties are. And not all of their events were there. In fact, with the Summer Games, the surfing competitions were in Tahiti. So not even in the same hemisphere.
Right. And I remember the Salt Lake Games in 2002, the Salt Lake Winter Games. I mean, I attended events in Park City.
Right, exactly.
I attended events at Snow Basin, which is near Ogden.
Right.
And there were some at Soldier Hollow, which was in Wasatch County. I mean, we were in, I've just named 3 different counties other than Salt Lake where events were held.
Yeah.
Why not call it the Utah Games? I mean, I don't know that it makes a difference.
I think that's the argument behind it, right? And the other thing that happened was they released a new logo, and some people love it. A lot of people don't love it. And we do have it up on KSL News Radio's Facebook post, and we have people laughing at it. And we have this comment: did the same people do this that did the IH for Intermountain new logo, right? I mean, here's we would love to hear from you. What do you think about the new logo? It's 57500, and was changing the name to Utah 2034 the right move? You can either comment on the Facebook post, whether that I'm looking at right now, or you can text us at 57500.
I had to say, when I saw the logo, it took me a minute to read it. It took me a minute to tell what it said. Right. It says Utah something, and the second word I couldn't figure out what it was saying.
It's 2034, and it's really modern art-ish. It's supposed to represent, I think, different landscapes in Utah, although you'd kind of have to squint to be able to tell it, in my opinion. So I'm not a huge fan of this logo. I also understand it's not permanent. It goes until 2029, and then the official one will be revealed.
Yeah, one of our commenters said, did Utah get a good deal by using the Bud Light or the Cracker Barrel marketing team for this one? we got a discount, right?
We have a texter said it's too hard to read. It's terrible. Get a different font. Another one says it looks like tiki.
Right, and it looks like something you need to read backwards in a mirror. Maybe it says something else. It is interesting, and of course, then you've also got the mascot that'll come out in the near future. Who knows what that'll look like? I mean, it's fun. We're 10 years away. 9 years away.
So I have several friends actually that said they ran even the Utah 2034. They ran it through an AI chat GPT generator and came up with, they felt like 6 better logos in 1 minute than this logo. And there is a Facebook comment. This one's a little bit funny. Since by 2034, few Americans will remember how to read, legibility won't matter as much as design language.
And I don't even remember what the Salt Lake game logo looked like. It's probably still out there somewhere.
Well, there's rings, right? We know there's the 5 Olympic rings, and this one doesn't have the rings.
So you don't seem to be as in favor of the Utah v. Salt Lake. Because to me it made more sense
the logo.
To me. Yeah.
Yeah, the comments that I'm seeing, it's mostly been the logo. Some of them are saying go back to the Salt Lake. You never hear of them using the state's name. It's always the city. But I know, look, the there's one commenter calling it Reformed Egyptian. Okay. So besides that, I saw on Facebook also, not on KSL's side, but somebody else. It's a satire site called the Silver Plates, and they said bring back Mitt Romney to fix the logo.
Yeah, where is Mitt Romney when we need him? I mean, it's fun. I think it's all very good sport and a lot of fun right now. I wonder how the Salt Lake City administration feels about this.
Well,
if
we
they
know
feel
actually
snubbed a little
they
bit.
do, and in fact, Mayor Erin Mendenhall said to the Deseret News yesterday when they were writing about this press conference and the release of it, and she literally said, "This stings," right? Because it has been, Salt Lake City has borne the bulk of the preparation and those types of things, and she felt like it was kind of a little bit of a slap in the face.
And certainly, well, probably opening and closing ceremonies will be in Salt Lake.
Oh, yeah.
The ice venues will be in Salt Lake. I mean, there will be a lot going on in Salt Lake. We don't have any ski hills in Salt Lake City,
right,
but we have some in Salt Lake County.
Right.
We just don't have Olympic events at the Big and Little Cottonwood resorts, I don't think. At least we didn't last time. It's just too hard to get traffic up there. I think most of the ski venues will still be outside the Wasatch Front, except for the Snow Basin area up in Ogden. But on the Wasatch Back, the Park City area will have a lot of events.
Yeah, look, I feel for the people who were hired to do this logo because it is not well liked, actually. There are a couple of people, there are a few who say that they like it, but mostly the texters and the Facebook comments are along the same lines. It's awful. It looks like junior high. It looks like it was made out of pinball flippers. It doesn't have any class. The 2002 logo, this texter said, was really cool. This one is not. One texter does say if you enlarge it enough, you can read it fine. So,
I like this one. One good thing about it is the font, the A. It almost looks like a little bit of the delicate arch. Otherwise, I think it's a fail. Oh. The A looks like the delicate arch.
So it's an interesting conversation, right, about logo, and I do wonder, like, why did they leave out the Olympic rings, and why is this not something that I think would be? I think there's some branding with the Olympics that goes along with the colors of the rings and the 5 interlocking rings, right? That's part of it. That's missing from this logo.
Yeah, and logo aside, I do think the Utah Games makes more sense just because we do so much outside of Salt Lake City. So I hope it's not a snub to Mendenhall and to the Salt Lake City people. I hope that it certainly, I don't think was meant to be that way. I think it's just meant to more open the fact that the venues are all over the state.
There are some people that are like reading conspiracy theories into the logo. I don't know that I buy those, but anyway, this is like hope this isn't the final logo. And as I understand it, it's not.
Well, let's go back to 2002. The compared to the controversy we were dealing with then,
right,
to now, yeah, let's worry about whether it's the city or the state. Let's worry about whether it's some weird font.
That's why that one group said bring back Mitt Romney.
Right,
he needs to fix it.
We were dealing with federal indictments and bribery scandals and all kinds of things. We can handle this one on a much smaller level. Yeah. Oh, you're showing me the Salt Lake logos, and you're right, they were beautiful.
It kind of looked like a snowflake, multicolored snowflake.
Right, yeah.
Said Salt Lake 2002, and then had the 5 interlocking rings. So, okay, when we come back, we're going to talk with Fraser Bullock about, he's the president and executive chair of the organizing committee for the 2034 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games. We're going to talk about this branding decision when we come back.
Hard to believe, but Black Friday's here, and you know what that means. It's time for Black Friday money deals at UCCU.
There is an annual tradition now for Black Friday at UCCU where people look forward to, because unlike other Black Friday sales, Black Friday at UCCU is your chance to actually improve your finances.
Like a home equity loan with extra 0.25% off the intro rate, auto and RV loans with no payment for 90 days, low-rate credit cards with 0% interest for 6 months, and $150 cash just for signing up for direct deposit.
It's so easy, and that's just the beginning of Black Friday money deals. Keep going to uccu.com every week for new premium deals that will unlock, and they're things like cutting your auto loan rate in half to earning a higher interest rate on your savings. Enter each week for a chance to win these awesome prizes.
But you got to visit uccu.com every week, but if you come back and enter every time a new deal unlocks, you can win them all. So don't just enter once, go every week, unlock every deal, and win big this Black Friday at UCCU.
UCCU, you're going to love where you bank.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Woke radical liberals are screwing up this country. But Congressman Blake Moore is fighting back. He backed one big, beautiful tax cut for working families, ending Social Security taxes for nearly all seniors, and taxes on tips and overtime gone. Call Congressman Blake Moore at 202-225-0453 and thank him for backing working family tax cuts and putting America first. Paid for by American Prosperity Alliance.
One Kind Act a Day is a program from the Semnani Family Foundation. One Kind Act a Day seeks to create kinder communities by inspiring daily acts of deliberate kindness. Their work includes programs in schools, businesses, communities, faith groups, and prisons where they help enhance the culture of kindness and increase a sense of community. The world always needs more kindness. No matter what our background or beliefs are, kindness towards others and ourselves is something that everyone can get behind. Kindness can be big or small, but the ripple effect can reach out in ways that we don't even realize. Wouldn't life be better if we were all a little more kind? You can do your part by starting today. All it takes is one kind act a day. Find out more and take the pledge of kindness at thepowerofkind.org. That's thepowerofkind.org.
Save $2,500 on a new furnace and air conditioner from Any Hour Services. For more information, call Any Hour Services or schedule a free estimate online at anyhourservices.com.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for kids, teens, or young adults. It's just not.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals and volatile organic compounds into your body.
And nicotine, the same highly addictive substance found in regular cigarettes.
Nicotine can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s,
affecting learning, memory, attention, and impulse control, and priming the brain for other addictions.
Vaping products also come in kid-friendly flavors that can make them appealing to youth.
And many kids also use other drugs, like marijuana, in vaping devices.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping, because when you talk, they hear you.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
And expanded Inside Sources.
I know it's still 9 years away, but the Utah Winter Games are 3,000 days away, and it's...
No, it's 2,999.
Yesterday marked the 3,000th day, and so in preparation for that, there's been a new logo introduced and a new name for the games in Utah, which was a little bit surprising. Both of those have gotten a little bit of attention. We talked about those in the last segment. People have mixed feelings about them, mostly negative. Mine are both positive to both.
You like the logo?
I like the logo. Well, the more I look at it, I do. Especially, but when it's on, it's on the state, a picture of the state instead of the city. It has the whole state with the Great Salt Lake and whatnot, and I think it's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. We have Fraser Bullock on the line. He's president and executive chair of the organizing committee for the 2034 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Can you tell us? Let's talk first about the name, which is Utah 2034 instead of the name of a city, and I think that's maybe the less controversial decision.
Yes, so in 2014, the International Olympic Committee changed the regulations and went from a host city to the opportunity to also utilize a host region. And so we see that for Milan Cortina, for example. We see that for the French Alps for 2030. And in addition to that, we were able to have the region as the signatory to the contract, providing the financial guarantee. Only the state of Utah had the financial wherewithal to provide that financial guarantee, so they're officially the host. So technically, we could do it. But the other thing we wanted to do is reach out to all of Utah. These games happen in many venue communities around the Wasatch Range, but we want all of Utah to feel like these are their games. And we're looking at strategies to be able to reach out to all 29 counties and have them feel part of these games.
Yeah, and the venues themselves, Fraser, are also outside of Salt Lake City and many outside of Salt Lake County. We have I'm just thinking out loud here and talking in the last segment, at least I can think of venues that would be in Summit County and Park City, Wasatch County, Heber City area, and Weber County up Snow Basin. So I may be missing some, but these aren't just a Salt Lake City game.
No, not at all. Of course, the heart of the games is in Salt Lake City with the Olympic Village, opening and closing ceremony, hockey. But you look at Park City, it's the busiest place. We've got Utah Olympic Park, Deer Valley, Park City. We've got Provo. We've got Kearns. So it's really spread all across the Wasatch Range, and we want each one of those venue communities to feel part of it. So one of the things we got is a special permission from the International Olympic Committee with our Triposit logo that has the rings, the Paralympic Agitos, and Utah 2034, is we can put under there Salt Lake City, Provo. And so we can have each community embrace its own logo as part of these games.
So can you back up just 1 second? You said the logo could have the 5 rings and the name of the city, but that's not the logo that was unveiled yesterday, correct?
Correct. But we have that treatment, which is going to be, you'll go to our website and you'll see that. So we have the option of doing just the word mark of Utah 2034 in the rings, or we have the option of doing the Triposit logo, rings, word mark, and Agitos of the Paralympics along with a venue city underneath each one. These are all optional treatments.
So can you talk to us about the logo that was unveiled yesterday? I've seen a lot of commentary on the font, that it's hard to read and it seems to be confusing. What was behind picking this font specifically?
Yes, it'll become more clear over time as we continue to provide background around it. For example, you look at the A, and it's tied to Delicate Arch. You look at the T, and it's tied to a mountaintop. You look at the 3, and it's tied to Reflection Canyon in Utah. So what we're trying to do with this font is tie to the natural geography of Utah. And I think once people really see that and understand that connection, they'll say, aha, I get it.
I just said, aha, I get it. As you were doing that, Fraser, I'm looking at it and I'm following along, and you nailed it. The font caught me off guard at first, I'll be honest, because I couldn't read the second line, which obviously now says 2034. And I think it's going to grow on people as more and more people see it. And I think it's really innovative. So I appreciate what you're saying, and I think it's kind of fun the way you talked about some of the letters as well.
Absolutely, and we'll be doing more of that education. We'll be doing that on our website through videos and things like that. And I think as people really see it and get it, they'll say, ah, yes, I really like that.
I have a question about whether this is permanent or not. I saw online that Kelsey Berg, who's I think her title is Government Affairs, maybe, for the Olympic Games, but she said that this was not permanent. Is that like what changes in 2029?
Yes, this is what's called a transitional logo, and we only have certain latitude of what we can do with it, and it's mostly the font. But after the LA Games, then the world opens up to us, and we can do all kind of creative treatments at that point in time. So that'll be a much grander phase where we'll reveal our entire brand, our look, everything associated with the games, and that'll be an exciting time.
Can you tell our listeners, Fraser, what we can expect with respect to some of the venues? I mean, we held the games here not long ago, 2002, not long ago in my lifetime, and we had an outstanding games. We had all the venues set up at the time, things that are difficult that some cities have a hard time building. Is there much to be done either to upgrade or to change or to create new venues between now and 2034?
Well, there are two answers to that. To our permanent venues, they're always in need of good maintenance and some upgrades along the way. For the most part, we're in pretty good shape. But there's another 8 years before our games, so we'll have to maintain them well and do some upgrades. But the other thing that we'll be doing is we build temporary venues, such as Metals Plaza right downtown, like we did last time. But what we're going to have right next to that is Big Air. And Big Air will be right downtown, right next to Metals Plaza. The finish area will dump right in front of the stage, and it's going to be spectacular downtown. So we will always have temporary venues that we build, including in the mountains. Like at Deer Valley, we'll be building all the stands and hospitality areas. So we build a small city at each venue, but that's temporary. The permanent venues are in great shape. The temporary ones are always part of the games, and we're going to be doing some fun, cool, exciting stuff.
Just a quick question about volunteering, because that was one of the, I think, key components for 2002, and I know there's a lot of interest. Where are we in being able to volunteer for 2034?
That's a great question. The volunteers are the magic sauce of what we do to host the games, and they were so good in 2002. We got a reputation for being the most welcoming place in the world, the happiest place in the world. So we want to reconstitute our volunteer program. Now, in reality, it's going to be about 3 years out, or 2031, when we really start gearing up. We start training people. We start developing that whole area. But if people want to volunteer now, they can go on our website, and it shows volunteer opportunities. You can volunteer for the World Cups that are coming this year in places like Deer Valley or the speed skating oval. So if people want to get involved now, they can. And frankly, if people show that penchant for volunteering now, that's going to help them qualify for becoming a volunteer for the games.
Thank you, Fraser. That was Fraser Bullock, President and Executive Chair of the Organizing Committee for the 2034 Olympic and Paralympic Games, the Utah 2034 Games. And it turns out today, I didn't realize this, might be one of the busiest travel days as families head in and out of town for Thanksgiving, not only on the highway but in the air. We'll get to what to expect on Utah's roads after the break.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends, and I can't wait to get on the road again.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top local story this hour. Senate President Stuart Adams confirmed lawmakers are working to get the newly appointed congressional map appealed. They're going to the Utah Supreme Court.
By design or by default, Judge Gibson has authorized the most partisan and thus the most gerrymandered map in the history of the state of Utah.
The session will be in December. Utah Democrats are reacting to the attempt to appeal, saying the Utah Senate and House Democrats condemn the call for a special session over redistricting, and it's fiscally irresponsible to use Utah taxpayer dollars to fight the legal battle. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Police in France say they've made more arrests in connection with last month's heist at the Louvre. 4 people were arrested this morning. ABC's Tom Soufi-Burridge is in Paris with more.
In the CCTV footage from October the 19th, when that daylight heist on a Sunday morning at the Louvre took place, you can see 2 men who actually go up that ladder and cut the hole in the window of the Louvre and then access the building, go in, smash the glass casings, and then make it out before the police can arrive. And there are 2 other individuals on motorbikes down at the bottom of the ladder who were the getaway drivers. So 4 in total. Police believe now they have the whole gang.
There's still no indication of where the crown jewels that were stolen in the heist are located. Your money at this moment, the Dow up 383 points to 46,831. Coming up, well, we've got the big travel day supposedly today. We'll get a check of the roads plus weather. Coming up next, KSL News Time, 10:31.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
They all laughed when I suggested Fat Cats for our next movie night. They show movies at Fat Cats, was the reply. Then they walked into Fat Cat's luxury movie theater. Huge screens, Dolby sound, and every seat a luxury recliner. And to take it up a notch, we all ordered food from the Fat Cat's grill and had it delivered right to our seats without extra charges. Nothing feels better than relaxing in a comfy recliner and eating a hand-tossed pizza or freshly grilled burger. Even the desserts were out of this world. Our movie nights will never be the same. If you've got friends like mine, bring them to Fat Cats, Utah's newest chain of luxury theaters. Every Tuesday, tickets are $5, but at Fat Cats on Mondays, tickets are $5 with a Gold Cat membership. Want to achieve a neighborhood hero status like me? Bring them to Fat Cats. With locations along the Wasatch Front, there's one near you. Find movie times and locations at fatcatsfun.com. fatcatsfun.com.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
Stop for a moment and think about this.
Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At Capital Wealth Advisors, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the Capital Wealth Advisors team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Let's check in with Steve Carlson.
Well, UDOT reporting a vehicle fire in Box Elder County. This is on eastbound SR 30 in Riverside. Otherwise, no crashes on north or southbound 15 right now. Rolling clean and green, full speeds between Brigham City and Spanish Fort. Same easy drive on I-80, the belt routes, and the 201. When you take UTA, you can do just about anything while you ride. You won't even notice all the traffic you're missing. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Steve Carlson in the KSL Traffic Center.
Well, looking at a high of only 47 degrees today, then it warms up a little bit more. Wednesday, 53. Thanksgiving Day, a high of 56, the warmest of the next 7. Travel back from Thanksgiving weekend could be affected by weather, but should be okay to start things off. Right now, it is 37 degrees and partly cloudy in Salt Lake. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We often think of Thanksgiving and the Thanksgiving holiday as the weekend when there's the highest travel rate, the most number of people that travel. I don't know whether that's true necessarily, but I know a lot of people are getting out of town this weekend, some as early as today, Holly. I mean, Thanksgiving's 2 days away. Today's only Tuesday.
I know, but school is out today, at least for my daughter's school.
Oh.
They're done today. And when I was like a decade ago, when I went back to college, they were letting kids out also after classes on Tuesday because so many were skipping classes on Wednesday, so you don't have to travel late into the night or an overnight or something like that. So yeah, a lot of people are leaving today.
And for those of us that I used to run my own business, my own office, Thanksgiving was the only 4-day weekend of the year. You know, it was like the longest weekend you had for those of us that didn't get paid vacation. Back in the day. It is a busy weekend for travel. I don't know. Are you planning to go anywhere this weekend?
No, and we host, right? So we don't have kids coming this weekend because I think the reason it is the busiest travel time of the year is because it's so confined, right? Summer vacation, you can spread it out over 3 months. Even Christmas vacation, you can come and go at different times. But here, you have to be there for dinner on Thursday, right? And then you have to be back to work on Monday. And so I think that's one of the reasons why this holiday travel weekend is so busy.
Yeah, and we had planned to go to Northern California for Thanksgiving, which we do often. My son lives there with his 4 children, but I was in an accident 3 weeks ago, and I don't think I could travel, let alone wrestle with the grandkids with a broken pelvis and
flying maybe not be
just flying. So they were kind enough to say, okay, Grandpa, we'll see you at Christmas. But we are going to travel down to our place in Torrey near Capitol Reef, which is the scene of the crime.
Scene of the crime.
Right, that's where I got hurt. I don't know. My bike's probably still laying in some field somewhere out in the mountains. But it'll be nice to get back there. And we have no family, no friends, no nothing. We're just. It's just
you do have friends
with us this weekend. It's just the two of us this weekend is what I meant, which I think will be fun. We haven't done a Thanksgiving for two in
we have hosted for so many years. I cannot remember the last time that we didn't host, and I expect that will continue for the rest of my life.
Well, let's get to UDOT's John Gleason joining us this morning. John, thank you for joining us again, as you often do.
Hey, thank you both so much for having me. And Greg, I'm so sorry to hear about your crash. It was a bike crash?
Yes, and it was pure pilot error, but I crashed on my bicycle, mountain biking, fractured my pelvis, broke a couple bones in my back, and it was on November 2nd, so it hasn't been that long. I'm sitting down right now, which hurts, but otherwise I'm getting better by the day, John.
That's terrible. Well, speedy recovery. I hope you make a full and speedy recovery.
So what can you tell our listeners who may be traveling on the roads over the next 4 or 5 days?
Well, I think Holly had it right. Yeah, Holly had it right that it is a concentrated holiday. And so where we're a little spread out is you both talked about this as well. A lot of people are taking a 5-day weekend. And so, kids are getting out of school half day for a lot of kids today. And so, travel plans start this afternoon, and we could see travel on I-15 especially ramp up, between the afternoon hours, 3 o'clock to 8 p.m. is where we'll see that peak, but especially during the evening commute, 4 to 6. And we're anticipating southbound I-15, we'll probably see about 20 minutes of additional delay compared to a normal day.
What are the actual biggest travel day on Utah roads? Is it today or tomorrow?
It's spread out, and I wish I could tell you the exact. My thought was that Sunday was going to be a day that we see more traffic out on the roads, but our traffic engineers weren't as concerned about that. Now, the wild card there is, of course, weather. We could get some weather, and then if you get any crashes, that can add a lot of delay to your travel. So, I guess the takeaway is if you can avoid traveling during those peak times in the afternoon, early evening hours, today, tomorrow, and then Sunday, just try to plan to be out on the road at those times that everybody else is staying home. Maybe leave earlier or stay a little bit later.
John, are there roads, as there almost always are, that we should maybe be more conscious of or give ourselves a little more time for, that may have some construction or some limited lane availability or something this weekend?
Well, the good news, Greg, is that we're taking a pause on all of our big construction projects just because we don't want to add any additional delays as people are trying to enjoy their holiday weekend. But that said, we will have some existing restrictions or traffic shifts that will stay in place. So it is important to slow down and obey those reduced speed limits in those work zones just to keep drivers safe. But for the most part, we're taking a break, and you're not going to see any of the construction out there. The areas that we're expecting the most traffic, it's really concentrated on I-15. But coming back, if there has been a trouble spot, and I didn't put this out there as an alert, but history as our guide here, US 6 coming back into Spanish Fork can sometimes you really get bogged down on Sundays after a holiday. So that's another area. I-15 and US 6 are the areas I would say to plan some extra time if you can.
Thanks so much for joining us. That was John Gleason with UDOT. And we also know that there will be more drivers than there will be people flying, but there are plenty of people who are flying. And the Salt Lake City International Airport is telling people to get to the airport at least 2 hours before your flight takes off.
Even though it's going to be busier, we really are staffed up for it. So really don't expect to see delays going through security screening. There could be delays because of weather on the East Coast. It's not a record-breaking number, but we are expecting an increase in passengers. And our goal is really to make sure that passengers have the most seamless experience possible from the curb to the gate and into the air. So I think we're prepared for that.
That was Salt Lake Airport spokesperson Nancy Vollmer talking to us about air travel. We had some concerns as recently as just a week or two ago because of the government shutdown that some of the agents and some of the airports might not be fully up to speed again, and that there would still be some problems lingering from that as we got closer and closer to Thanksgiving. Maybe we're not as worried about that as we were a little while ago.
Well, they're up to speed, but the numbers are big. So the Salt Lake Airport is expecting 30,000 people to fly in and 30,000 people to go through security to fly out just tomorrow and Sunday.
Yeah, I mean that's
a lot.
That's a lot of people for that, and it is an amazing airport, and they've done a great job of getting it all up to speed. It's a beautiful venue. Proud that 30,000 people will be able to see that maybe haven't seen it before, and see what we're doing here in Salt Lake City.
They will not be skiing.
Yeah, I'm sort of sad about that because Thanksgiving is often a time when people do plan to come and ski. I don't even know. I think Brian Head down in the Cedar area is open. I'm not aware of any other ski resorts that are open. If there are, text us at 57500. But I don't know of any ski resorts that will be open this weekend. I'm looking out our windows here, and I don't even see snow out there.
Nope. We're going to follow traffic and weather updates throughout the day, the rest of the day today and tomorrow as people set off on their Thanksgiving adventures. And speaking of Thanksgiving adventures, measles is breaking out in Wasatch County. There is 5 students diagnosed with measles after exposure at Wasatch High School, and we're going to talk about those and what needs to happen if you're exposed when we come back after the break.
Hi, this is Cindy Olson, and get ready for these amazing offers during Black Friday week at Dave's Bernina in Provo and St. George. 48 months, no interest on certain Bernina machines. All machines are on sale, including the new Bernina 3 Series, priced too low to mention. Even the most advanced sewing machine in the world, the Bernina 990, is on sale. That comes with free gifts. Incredible doorbuster deals on accessories that you will have to come into the store to find out. Dave's Bernina just received a limited amount of school buybacks in excellent condition and is offering the Bernina 335 model for $699, a retail price of $1599 if new. And a small number of school machine models with a doorbuster price of $499. Both come with 2-year warranties. Many machine purchases come with free gift bundles too. Black Friday week at Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo. Dave'sBernina.com.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Hi, this is Doug Ryden. For years, I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
Think of a time when life knocked the wind out of you, turned you completely upside down. Now, imagine if no one showed up. That's the reality for too many in Utah. Every day, people battle mental health challenges, addiction, and homelessness, often in silence, often feeling invisible. At Volunteers of America Utah, we show up with recovery support, counseling, youth programs, shelter, and people who simply refuse to give up on others. A safe bed, a warm meal, a conversation that says you belong. When you give, you're not just donating. You're reminding someone they are seen, valued, and worthy of a future. Because when you help someone feel human again, you transform the whole community. Be the reason someone finds hope today. Visit voaut.org.
Winters along the Wasatch Front get cold, but imagine if your furnace isn't working. It may be hard to imagine, but the reality is there are families that could go this winter without heat. Join KSL News Radio and Gillette Heating and Cooling and give the gift of heat to deserving families with a Carrier furnace. If you know a family in need, please nominate them today at KSLNewsRadio.com. They could get a new energy-efficient furnace to provide warmth and comfort for many winters to come. Your house is your home, and with Gillette Heating and Cooling, we can make it a place where love isn't the only thing that warms your heart. Make your nomination today at KSLNewsRadio.com and give the gift of heat with Gillette Heating and Cooling at GilletteHVAC.com, a Carrier factory authorized dealer. Turn to the experts. Make your nomination at KSLNewsRadio.com.
Mr. Mac, suiting for every important chapter of your life. Weddings, proms, new job, any celebration, mission callings, and more. Mr. Mac's there to suit your needs with 9 locations or MrMac.com.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
We did get some bad news this week. We learned that there are 5 confirmed cases of measles in Wasatch County, all from the same school. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi has more.
The 5 cases are all among students at Wasatch High School. The exposures may have occurred during school hours and at a school play. The cases are unrelated to each other. Of the people involved in those cases, as well as 2 other suspected cases, only 2 were vaccinated. This has prompted health officials to urge people to get the MMR vaccine and stay home for 21 days if they have symptoms.
Those symptoms include a rash, a high fever, cough, runny nose, red, watery eyes. And we're going into a group gathering time. So Lois Collins of the Deseret News, thanks for joining us. Talk to us about measles.
So measles is one of the most highly contagious illnesses around there, and it can actually linger in the air. If I walk through and I have measles and I cough or I touch a surface, it can still be there 2 hours later when you wander through.
Wow.
So it is something that needs to be taken seriously. And lots of people have mild cases, but there are a lot of complications that can come with measles, so you can't just assume that it's mild at all. The other thing that's really interesting right now is that the U.S. is kind of on the brink of possibly losing its status as a country where measles has been, quote, eradicated. And the way that they track that is if you have an outbreak, we've had 45 outbreaks, by the way, this year, but if you have an outbreak that is still tracking, so the cases don't last a whole year, but you can still track it from one to the next, to the next, to the next for a year, then you lose your status because it is circulating. And the numbers are really interesting. And by the way, Canada lost its status earlier this month. It's no longer a country where measles has been eradicated. But in the United States this year, we have so far had 1,753 cases reported, and that's as of last week's count. The CDC releases its numbers every Friday. In Utah, we went from 87 cases last week to 96 this week.
Wow.
So it's spreading, and a lot of it is on the border between Arizona and Utah, where there's a big outbreak, but a lot of it's not. It's creeping up through the rest of the state, so it's kind of a problematic thing.
Given its contagiousness and the fact that it's so highly contagious, are there warnings or maybe stay at home, sequester yourself in place for people that have measles? Ideas for them?
It's kind of tricky. If you know you have measles, you definitely need to stay away from people. There's no justification for exposing other people to it. But you can be contagious before you have symptoms. It's one of those things that has like a long tail. And so you may not know you're sick. If you don't feel good, don't go out because you don't know. And the other thing to bear in mind with measles is that with all the group gatherings and things that are going on, this is maybe a good time to revive those old masks that you were wearing. I mean, I know when I travel on a plane, I wear a mask because I don't know what else is traveling on that plane with me.
Yeah.
A lot of people are opposed to masks, but I'm kind of opposed to getting the measles.
Are masks effective with measles?
They are more effective than not having masks.
Sure.
I don't know that anyone has done like a study to see if it's 100% preventable. The other thing is that even the vaccine is not 100%. In the cases that we had in Utah, they said that there were 4% where people had been vaccinated with full vaccination. You sometimes hear other numbers, but usually it's a 2-dose, and some people have maybe had 1 dose but not the other dose, so they didn't complete the series. So the numbers are, your chances are much better. About 92% you won't get measles if you're vaccinated.
I was really struck by the 21 days of isolation.
It's a long time,
It's
isn't
a
it?
long time, and it seems to probably be long past the time where you're feeling sick. Am I misunderstanding how sick people get with measles?
Well, it depends. People get sick to different degrees. If you, and you can't necessarily predict it, but somebody who is immune compromised is definitely going to have a harder time than somebody who's not. It's believed that older people and really young people can have more complications. Right now, in Utah, the biggest number of cases are between people who are 5 and over 20. So 5 to 19 and over 20. Little guys aren't getting it, and older people tend to be more cautious because, hey, I'm in that age group, and every time I do a health story, there's like a little thing that says, and you are older and you are at greater risk.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of that, Lois, what are health officials telling people of my age who may have had a measles shot 60 years ago? I mean, is it something that a booster makes sense, or hey,
no, it's not generally said that you need a booster, but you have to know for sure that you had the shot. When he went to the doctor earlier this month, my husband wasn't positive, so they did the test to see if he had antibodies. He didn't. So
which means he probably didn't have the shot.
Yeah, he either didn't have the shot or he's also immune compromised. So it could be that's something to do with that. But he went down and got a measles shot. So don't assume you had a shot because you're older.
Yeah, I know that for me, I know that I had a shot, and when they tested titers, they showed 0. So I have had a booster. I'm wondering if you could talk to the guidance coming from RFK Jr. as it applies to measles vaccines, and what's that doing to our community right now?
It has varied somewhat. Initially, he had other recommendations besides the vaccine. He said vitamin A would be great, other things that are not necessarily proven. He then said that the best way to prevent measles is with the measles vaccine. And I don't think he's changed on that, but he did ask the CDC to remove the place that said that there is no link between the measles vaccine and autism. So it's all over the place. It's a little bit like a mood ring at this point.
Is the outbreak, Lois, a response to maybe people not getting immunization as they would have in the past?
Numbers are definitely down. There's a lot more vaccine skepticism than we've seen in the past. And so numbers are definitely down, and that does play into it. And Utah, and in fact most states, have different exemptions that you can exempt yourself from any or all vaccinations. And so part of the reason it's concerning that the school had a relationship to an outbreak is that there may be a lot of more people who are not vaccinated than in the past, and you need about 95% vaccination for herd immunity to protect people who can't be vaccinated.
And the measles, we're speaking with Lois Collins from the Deseret News, is much worse than a runny nose. I mean, this is something that should be taken quite seriously.
It can be very serious. It can be, if you are exposed to measles and you're pregnant, the child can get birth defects, which is a lifelong problem. Males can have complications from from both mumps and measles. There are just
fertility complications.
Yes, they can have all sorts of complications, and it's miserable.
Yeah.
It's absolutely miserable. It's itchy and painful, and you don't sleep well, and you don't feel well, and you give it to other people, and it's miserable.
So let me ask you this question, Lois, and this is from a texter. What if they had measles as a child? Do they have lifelong immunity after they have the disease?
I'm not positive on that, and I'm very clear with everyone I talk to that I'm a good speller, not a doctor. But it is my understanding that you should have the titers, you should have the antibodies.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing with measles, though, is that it can help erase immunity. It can help erase immunity to other things. It's one of those that does that. So
Wow.
It's kind of weird.
Do we know any more about the Wasatch County officials, what they're doing up there? Five at one school almost seems like maybe we should shut down the school for a couple days. I mean, that's maybe an extreme, but
I don't know what the plans are there. It would seem like the holiday coming up would shut the school down for a couple of days. It also, though, would seem like people are going to have more family gatherings and more events, and so who knows?
Wow.
We only have 10 seconds. If they're exposed at a school event, how long before symptoms show up?
It could be anywhere from like 4 to 7 days.
Okay.
And meanwhile, you're spreading it to other people.
Yeah, and you get these weird little bumps and stuff. It starts out slow, and then it's recognizable.
We shouldn't be talking about the measles. Well, it's too bad. Many families may not realize how overwhelming Thanksgiving can be for kids with autism. Coming up next, we'll talk to an expert about simple ways to make your holidays sensor-friendly, and so that every child feels calm, comfortable, and included. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio, I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. State lawmakers are working to get Utah's new appointed congressional map appealed, and they're going to the Utah Supreme Court. Senate President Stuart Adams, along with Speaker Schultz, held a press conference to break the news, and Governor Spencer Cox has announced a special session in early December to make it happen. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Army Secretary is meeting with a Russian delegation today, and officials say they're optimistic about the chances of the war in Ukraine ending.
We know that the talks have been ongoing now. These were, by the way, remember, these are secret talks that were being carried out by the Army Secretary. After he left Geneva, he went to Abu Dhabi, met with the Russian delegation. We have not been told who are representatives on the Russian side. We do not know exactly how they are going to react to this. But the fact that these talks have been going on now for 2 days is indicative, I guess, of that optimism that you heard from the U.S. Army spokesman.
ABC's Luis Martinez reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 541 points. The S&P is up 44 points. And coming up, partly cloudy skies. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
Reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
For nearly 70 years, Les Olson IT has been the trusted name for businesses. From state-of-the-art printers and copiers to managed IT services, we have the solutions you need to stay ahead in today's world. And now Les Olson IT is trusted and licensed in Utah for security systems, for technology that helps you work smarter. Les Olson IT, providing solutions that empower your business.
Les Olson IT.
Ebenezer Scrooge, you have yet a chance of escaping my fate.
Ah, humbug.
You still have time to get a Mountain America Rewards credit card and earn 3 times the points on every dollar spent, but only through the stroke of midnight on December 31st.
I suppose I can learn to enjoy the holidays with triple rewards.
Apply today and learn more at macu.com/triple.
Membership required based on eligibility. Loans on approved credit offer can change or be withdrawn at any time. Limited time offer. Business cards not eligible.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Hurry! It's our last chance to donate for 2025.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Steve Carlson.
Had a crash on northbound 215's west side belt at 47 South there on the off-ramp in Taylorsville. That's on the right shoulder. Another crash just popped up westbound 53rd South at 7th West. And that right lane is blocked there. Otherwise, north and southbound 15 rolling along at good speeds between Brigham City and Spanish Fork. Same story on I-80 and the 201. Live at the Eccles presents A Gentry Christmas. 4 shows, Friday and Saturday, November 28th and 29th at the Eccles Theater. Tickets on sale now at liveeccles.com. Steve Carlson in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high 47 today with partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, we're looking at highs back in the 50s. That continues for the next few days. Right now, it is 39 and partly cloudy. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
You know, we talk about Thanksgiving and getting families together and having a lot of people traveling, but we sometimes don't consider some of the younger people who may be suffering from or experiencing symptoms of autism and how they react to the crowds and to the noise and to the excitement. And it's a time of year when maybe it's good to take a step back and take some of those people into consideration.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't think about it unless it has directly impacted your family. But as you mentioned, as we get together, there are opportunities. And even if a child is not diagnosed officially or on the spectrum, they may have additional sensitivities to sound or just being around a lot of people that they're not super familiar with. So we have with us Above and Beyond Therapy's Clinical Director of Operations in Utah, Megan DiMartino. Thanks for joining us, Megan.
Hi, yes, thanks for having me.
What can you tell families who maybe don't have children with autism, but maybe joining other families that do, and how they can help and react and be sensitive to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Thanksgiving and holidays in general can feel hectic for all kids, like you guys mentioned. Routines change. There's a lot of different noises, smells, new faces. Maybe access to, certain rooms look different as you're accommodating more people in certain settings. And so a lot of those things, can feel really unpredictable to everyone involved, but in particularly for individuals with autism where, routines and expected things are a lot more calming for them. So it can be quite triggering for an individual with autism to be dealing with multiple changes to their routines and to their structure of their day during, holidays and things like Thanksgiving.
So does that include, you mentioned just change in routine, but does that also include maybe different smells or a lot more sound? Are those also triggers?
Yeah, absolutely. Even, lights, if there's different lighting in the house, or if you're, at a venue where, you can't really control what the lighting is like, the smells, absolutely, especially if it's food that is not often had in, the family. And so it's a little bit different than what they're used to. That can all, just indicate change and be really disruptive for individuals with autism.
And what can you tell our listeners, Megan, who have children with autism in terms of preparing those children for these events?
Yeah. So, I mean, predictability practice as much as possible, creating, even maybe a simple like picture or textual schedule for the day, practicing some of those unexpected things coming. So greeting new people, trying new food, just being prepared as much as possible. And then for whatever environment, they're going to, if they're able to work with that family member, or if it's, in their own home, just making sure there still is some sort of quiet space for their child to go to if they need to kind of take a little break. That allows everyone to feel like they're not missing out on the event and the holidays and all of the excitement, but they're also still, making some accommodations for anyone who might be feeling a little overwhelmed.
You just mentioned one thing, have a room where they could go. What are some other things that parents or families could do who are maybe the host family and they're having people come over? What can they do to be more sensitive without totally disrupting their life, maybe.
Yes, yes. If you're able to, proactively have that conversation with the family member or whoever it is, with the home that you're going to, if they're able to understand that, louder music or, brighter lights on, maybe a little difficult for, my child to tolerate for long periods of time, maybe even keeping like certain smells to one location. So, outside of even food, but sometimes, I know my mom used to light candles, different things like that, just being very cognizant of that. And again, if there can be an area where maybe a lot of that is minimized, the change to it, that would allow, and a child with autism to be able to feel like, okay, I'm more familiar with this space, and this may offer them some comfort in that area.
We all know parents, Megan, who don't necessarily want the world to know about symptoms or problems or issues that their children are facing. Nonetheless, they're going to be getting together with other groups for Thanksgiving, and they're going to have to deal with that. What would you tell those parents in terms of I know that's a rhetorical question, maybe a difficult question, but you're going to take your child into a setting where there's a lot going on, but you don't necessarily want the rest of the people there to have to change what they're doing or maybe even know about your child's autism.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. I think, with Thanksgiving or holidays in general, managing expectations is going to be the biggest thing, especially if you are, like you're mentioning, maybe a little bit more hesitant to very openly discuss the challenges that your child may have. So, setting your own realistic expectations ahead of time, being flexible as a parent, picking your battles, going into it knowing that, if something unplanned happens that you identified could be triggering for your child, being as prepared as possible, having different activities to redirect them to, not expecting a clean plate club kid, if they're taking a few bites, great, bringing in, food or snacks or preferred things that, that they will eat. If sitting with, everyone is going to be something that's important to you, but just really managing your own expectations in that moment. And, agreeing as a family, if we need to leave early, based on X, Y, and Z signs, then we're going to leave early, and that's okay. And we'll have, an exit strategy planned.
So you just mentioned food, and it's, it's one of the things that I've seen. We host often, and so we've had a variety of food needs, everything from dairy-free, gluten-free, vegetarian, can't allow my food to touch anything else on the plate. Those types of things.
Right.
What can you recommend to families who are approaching the food needs, especially if you're the one that's cooking? Is there a way to be, accommodating, I guess, or is it really just bring your own food if your child has some additional needs?
I think if it's, allergy related, then a lot of times, families will opt to bring their own, especially, depending on the severity of the allergy, obviously, just to ensure that, there's no cross-contamination anywhere. If it's really based on, preference or selective choices with eating, like we see a lot of individuals with autism struggle with, then it could be, already, like I said, that prep, kind of exposing your child to either newer foods that will be presented, or if it's presented in a way that they're not familiar with, trying to expose them to that so that it's not as new of a thing to them. Even things I've seen, where they have like the kid plates that are kind of sectioned off. Maybe all the kids use that plate. If you know that your child struggles with food touching and you're nervous about that on, a standard plate, maybe all the kids have that at the kid table. That way, food is structured that way and not touching and individualized that way. But yeah, I think it's a balance of that, bringing your own if it's going to be a really big issue, or working with whoever is hosting for those little modifications that they could make. If a certain way that your child really likes, rolls to be presented, then working with them to see if, that's the way we can do it, and if that's not too big of a change for the host as well.
Last question, Megan, and then we'll let you go. But we just learned as a family that one of our family members had been diagnosed fairly recently with autism. He's in his teens. As we see him, we'll see him now How can we make him comfortable with his autism without making it seem like we're falling over ourselves, or even that we're making an issue out of it?
Yeah. I think, going into it, understanding that any responses or reactions, it may not be, you may not want to respond in the same way that you would have previously to this. So if they are declining, a new food or a dessert, sometimes as parents, or aunts and uncles, we can be like, oh, come on, just try it. It's just a bite, just a small bite. Just understanding that, that actually might be an extreme amount of pressure for him. And so you may just, as soon as he says like, no, I don't want to try that. No, thanks. Okay, no problem. Let us know if you want to try any of these things. Leaving things a little bit more open-ended that way. And then, similarly, if you talk to, the parents and see if you need to have, a space designated, or if there's, anything that you can do that doesn't feel too intrusive to you as well, to modify how you're setting up the environment or interacting.
Thank you so much for that. That was Megan DiMartino. She's the clinical director of operations for Above and Beyond Therapy here in Utah.
Really helpful information.
Yeah, very helpful. Look, this is a story that I was surprised to learn about. So behind the hard hats and heavy machinery, construction workers are battling a silent mental health emergency. BYU's Dr. James Smith is going to join us to share what's fueling this crisis and steps that could save lives and stabilize the industry when we come back.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
When it comes to your electrical system, do you know the warning signs to look for? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's okay if you don't know, but here are a few things that you might not even realize could be a sign of a bigger problem. Wall plates that are hot to the touch, discoloration around switches or outlets, if you hear crackling or popping or buzzing around switches or outlets, a breaker that trips a lot, switches that feel loose when you operate them, if your lights dim or flicker when a major appliance comes on, if your plugs fall out of the wall easily. You're not supposed to have to bend the prongs out on a plug just to get it to stay in the wall. If you notice any of these things, you should consider having a licensed electrician check your system out. If you don't know anyone, Any Hour Services has put together a radio-only special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive electrical inspection and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. To schedule your comprehensive electrical inspection by a licensed electrician for only $29, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7300. That's 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Most folks wait till January to say, I should probably fix this or do something about how you feel. But you know what? You're going to go into 2026 with the resolution already done because Soda helps you lose the weight now, so your New Year's all celebration.
You and I both started our Soda weight loss journey in October and November, right? And I loved going into holiday parties knowing I had a plan. It wasn't just, I'm going to try not to. It was, this is my plan, because I've spoken with a nutritionist and I get a jump start on that, first of the year goal by beginning Soda weight loss right now.
Yeah, there's no guesswork. You're supported every step of the way, and you need that. And right now, there's an amazing offer from Soda for you and your partner. You join, and your partner joins for free.
So why gain 20 pounds just to lose it in the new year? Go to Soda Weight Loss today and begin today.
That's sodaweightloss.com, SOTA weightloss.com, because Soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared.
Prevent your child's next asthma attack. Call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many. Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Inside Sources.
We often think of those that are doing construction and working and being outside as being almost immune from mental health issues and whatnot, but it's not the case at all.
Guys.
Right? Because probably a lot of them don't want to face it, don't want to admit it, don't want to acknowledge that there's some things going on behind.
I was really surprised to learn that it is one of the industries that is the highest in terms of suicide. So we have Associate Professor in BYU's Department of Civil and Construction Engineering, Dr. James Smith, to help us uncover why construction workers are struggling and what can be done. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Smith.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Well, can you tell our listeners about the biggest mental health challenges that construction workers face?
Well, I would say to your early intro there, just that the magnitude of the concern really came out in 2021 as they looked at some fatal statistics just in the U.S. It's really strong data, and construction was the second highest occupation in suicide rate. A whopping 75% more likely than the average occupation, and really second only to mining, which you could argue is construction as well. And so we've got this huge issue that is only increasing across the board, not just in construction, but is increasing across all of the occupations, and we've seen a 33% increase since 2001 in deaths by suicide, and so it's prevalent in our industry. Honestly, the reason that I've got a team together to work on it is because we don't have really strong, good data beyond that statistic that I've just shared there. As far as why, there are some theories as to why. There are some likely conditions created in the construction industry that are likely contributing to the problem, but we don't have really strong data to back it up. So that's what my team is working on right now.
That's interesting to me. What are some of the theories behind why this field is so impacted?
Yeah, I mean, you honestly you hit one thing on the head there in your intro. This is a very macho culture kind of a field where the perception is that you can't have weaknesses, you can't have vulnerabilities, and you should be capable of handling anything and everything. And that sort of additional weight and cultural pressure within the industry, I think, contributes to people not reaching out, so not help seeking, not getting the kinds of access to the kinds of resources that they really need. And that tends to be a downward spiral, unfortunately, and we see that in those statistics, unfortunately.
It can also be, just my own thoughts about the construction industry, that a lot of these workers are a little bit transient, that you go from job to job, And so it's hard to just say, hey, I need a mental health break, knowing that you may end up losing your job. So a lot of these people may be reluctant to seek help or to admit that they've got some issues.
Yes, definitely. And if they were to, there is a fear, there's definitely a concern that they might not be able to keep their job. And so that contributes to it. The low labor, the labor shortage that we're experiencing in the industry, which is widely published about, is a big problem with lots of our skilled trade retiring and not so many filling in those holes. So that also increases the demand and the pressure on those who are still in the industry, unfortunately, and it puts additional weight, just job pressure, even beyond maybe some, natural mental health, depression, anxiety kinds of conditions. It's exacerbating those conditions by putting that additional pressure. I mean, you just have to drive up and down I-15 to see how much construction there is, and to know that we have a labor shortage and that all that pressure's landing on these workers. It's kind of a recipe for disaster in this area, and we've seen it come manifest here.
Dr. Smith, we have a texter who said that they're involved in construction, and in his opinion, the workers are committing suicide because their situation is helpless. He says the work is tough. Most of my guys have chronic health issues. The pay is crap. I don't know how they afford kids. The hours are long, endless work, no money, and I've had to talk my buddy off the ledge twice this year, literally.
Oh, isn't that so sad? And those are the kinds of stories certainly that hopefully would motivate us all to figure out ways to manage that condition. I mean, I think there's an interesting condition within the construction industry where a developer or an owner is motivated to get something done quickly, right? They go through the design process, they go through all the steps that we need to create any of our built environment systems. And yet, because they're pressured in time and because schedule is important and cost is important, all of that weight and all of that, I guess weight is the right word for it, ultimately lands on the person who's doing the work, right? Down that chain, all the way down that chain. And to that gentleman's comment, the workers are the ones that are taking that hit, and it could feel helpless. I think that's not out of the expected realm for sure.
What kind of advice or suggestions would you have for employers who now may realize that the workforce isn't what it was 10 years ago, and keeping good employees is easier than just saying, okay, you're gone, well, let's hire somebody else? What can they be aware of, or what can they do to help keep their employees happy and healthy?
Yeah, that's a great question, Greg. I appreciate that. I think that employers are trying to do more things to support the overall total worker wellness for their employees, generally speaking, certainly at the construction management level, meaning the general contractor level. I think that the subcontractor level has a lot of room for growth there still, but that's step one, is providing resources and making it a priority within their organization to protect their workers. Again, some are making great strides in that area.
So
the second thing, sorry, go ahead.
No, please finish.
The second thing that I would really love to see more contractors do and more owners and developers recognize is that when you put a schedule together, when you say something's got to be done by this date, that part of that decision is resulting in these kinds of consequences. It's not intentional, right? Nobody's meaning to transfer that bag all the way down to the bottom. But if a contractor could go back to an owner developer in a little more commonly and more regularly and say, yeah, I appreciate your timeline, but it's not realistic, right? It's not, if we do this, we're going to be putting our people at risk. That's the pattern that we've established, is just somebody wants it faster, we're going to figure out how to do it faster. Somebody wants it cheaper, we're going to figure out how to do it cheaper. And that's how we that's how we stay in business. So up at the very top levels there has to be some change in and recognition that those decisions are impacting those workers at the lower levels.
So one quick final question. I have a son who works in construction, and any advice on how I or anybody else who has friends or family members in the construction industry, how do we talk to them? How do we check in with them?
Yeah, I would suggest if you've heard of trainings like QPR, there's great suicide trainings out there that are general mental health kinds of trainings, but open communication, knowing what the red flags are when people start to change behaviors, or there's quite a few that are established by the research, the psychological research that's out there, but being aware of their conditions and being open to talking about it. I think that's another thing, coming back to that macho culture, that the industry could do better, that supervisory management positions could do better, is just have a few more open conversations and make it a safe conversation to have with people. And I think families can and should be doing the same thing, watching carefully for those, and just hopefully knowing that construction population is at an elevated risk, and the data that supports that is very strong. And so we need to find better ways to help them.
Thank you so much. We've been speaking with Dr. James Smith. He's an associate professor in BYU's Department of Civil and Construction Engineering. And we do have a texter reminds us, of course, about 988. If you are feeling like you are in crisis, you can call 988 24 hours a day. When we come back, we are going to talk with Sarah Weaver, who was at the BYU Cincinnati game and had an opportunity to talk with a family from Michigan who had just survived a horrific attack on their church, hoping for some normalcy, go celebrate a football game, but instead they faced more hate as hurtful chants about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints happened at the game. We're going to talk about that family when we come back.
11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. The Washington City Police Department has released the identity of a man whose body was found at the base of a 250-foot cliff 3 years ago. Advanced DNA testing found a parent-child link to a woman in Wisconsin. By following that link, investigators were able to determine the man was Jamie Leake. He had left Wisconsin for Las Vegas and hadn't been heard from since 2021 or 2022. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Millions of Americans are already getting away for the Thanksgiving holiday. ABC's Melissa Eden is in LAX in Los Angeles.
While things are moving along here accordingly, because of course those TSA agents, the air traffic control towers, they're fully staffed, they're back to work. The volume really is what is astronomical. And also, we're not just talking about the airports, the roads. I know LA always deals with traffic, and that sweet time they say to travel is always early in the morning, late at night. In LA, it looks like it's going to be traffic all day long.
AAA predicts more than 81 million people will travel from today through the weekend. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 556 points. The S&P is up 49 points. And coming up, chilly and sunny. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio. leafilter.com/radio. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leafilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
With Steel, batteries are included. This holiday season, give a gift that's ready to go right out of the box. For everything from cleaning up the yard to cutting up firewood, Steel tools check off the wish list and knock out the to-do list. And right now, buy select battery tool sets and get a free extra battery. Visit SteelUSA.com for holiday deals and gift ideas. Happy holidays from Steel. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal, book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hi, I'm Dylan, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As a customer service specialist, I love helping couples find their dream engagement ring. And guess what? I just got engaged, so it was fun to create one myself. First, my fiance tried on a bunch of ring styles and she was drawn to a classic diamond pave setting. Then we looked at different diamond shapes from pear to oval to cushion. She fell in love with the princess cut. At Shane Company, you can create a one-of-a-kind ring and get it in days, not weeks. Because a friend wants you to have a magical holiday proposal. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
At Intermountain Health, we believe life is a circle. May yours surround you with insight, a healthy perspective, trust, and reassurance. The belief that our differences aren't that different. And compassion just when you need it most. Life is a circle. May yours help you live the healthiest life possible. Intermountain Health.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Ricky Meese.
Right now, I'm watching UHP do a freeway slowdown on southbound I-15 in Davis County as they pick up some debris from the road at 5th South Bountiful. Right now, they're doing the freeway slowdown right about Parish Lane in Centerville, holding back all traffic. We also have one accident to report. Westbound I-80 at Bangerter Highway. It's out of traffic on the shoulder. Save now with UCCU Black Friday money deals. $150 cash for signing up for direct deposit and much more. Visit uccu.com/Black Friday. UCCU. Love where you bank.
A high 47 today with mostly sunny skies, partly cloudy tomorrow and Thursday. We'll see temperatures get up to 56 degrees on Thanksgiving before they fall back again to the low 50s and 40s. Right now it is 41 and fair. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So, over the weekend, there was a really fun game between BYU and Cincinnati, and Sarah Weaver was there. She's the editor of the Deseret News, and we actually had her on, I think, last week, Sarah. Was that right? To talk to us about, I think, the missionary age change. Yeah.
Right. And I was actually in Cincinnati when I did that interview because we had flown back there to this football game, which actually was pretty significant in where BYU's place is in the standings.
Yeah. It was a big game because
so
BYU was...
you must be a super fan to travel, right? And we talked, I think, what day was it, Greg? We talked about the 27,000 pounds of food that was donated also, and how university officials were, quote, touched beyond words. And yet you had a story where you were able to talk to somebody there that did not have the best experience. And as I read this, I was just really, shocked. I mean, I heard the F the Mormons. I heard about that chant. I heard about there being an apology, but you found a family that this was really, really personal to. Can you tell our listeners about that?
Well, I think as as fans, especially BYU fans, we get to the point where we say, hey, this happens. This is what college campuses are doing right now. Student sections chant these things that are derogatory and hurtful to people of faith, but nothing can be done. And you know, we heard the chants from the stadium. We heard the announcers say, hey, don't do this. And the student section continued. And I just did what all of us do. And I thought, well, I'm exhausted by this. And yet this week, a woman, her name is Brandy Hickens, posted on social media, and her experience brought some fairly deep understanding to me, because she and her husband were victims of the Latter-day Saints shooting at a Michigan chapel in Grand Blanc. Her husband and 5-year-old daughter were shot in that horrific event. And she had to run as fire was spreading through that chapel with a 3-year-old and a 15-month-old, shrapnel embedded in her back.
Wow.
And so now she and her husband are trying to move on, trying to figure out how to get some normalcy in their life. They're huge BYU fans, and they drive to Cincinnati, and they're greeted with hateful and hate-filled language. And for someone who has been the victim of a hate crime, that felt more poignant. It felt more upsetting to her than I think the rest of us. And suddenly she brought meaning to why language matters, why hate is so horrible.
Yeah, I was really struck that she and her husband and her 5-year-old were actually hit in this attack. That's awful.
Yeah, she said they heard the chants, they were discouraged, they were disheartened, and they were driving home. And then she said to herself, when is this going to stop? And she said this is something that felt very, very personal to her. And suddenly she realized, maybe I have a voice. Maybe because of what I have been through, my voice carries extra weight. And she went home and she wrote a poignant letter to the athletic director of the University of Cincinnati. And I think it is worth a read for anyone.
You know, Sarah, the irony of this, and we talked about this yesterday, is that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints donated to that school's food bank 27,000 pounds of food, which was more than they had ever received in their history. In fact, I think it was more than they'd received in any given year almost. I mean, you can't do more than that, and then you still have to suffer this. And I know that this is more rhetorical than anything else, but it's got to be even more disheartening to people like the Hickens, who are like, what else can we do?
Yeah, and she actually brought up a point. She said, would this be tolerated about other faith traditions? Would this be tolerated if they were saying this about other groups of people? And why has this been allowed to continue for members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? And of course it carries more weight when that faith group has just been targeted by a hate crime.
Yeah, I'm seeing in her letter that she's saying, look, basically you have some options. Remove these people from the game. Don't let them come back, right? Set that standard instead of just saying, hey, you shouldn't do that, right? Is that she actually thinks there are things that can be done.
Mm-hmm. And this is something that I think a lot of people are hoping is dealt with at a higher level. She says, this chant is no longer just disheartening. It's crippling. It's personal. It's unacceptable, period. And so she's saying, hey, college athletics, hey, university administrations, hey, the general public, what about people at the stadiums themselves? Why are we tolerating hate speech?
And Sarah, I'm looking at your article, and it does appear that the administration there at the university did stand up to the plate, that they did react appropriately, and they have taken some steps, or at least made some public statements that they don't support this at all.
Yes, and so on Monday, an official apology, a public apology, was issued by the school's athletic director. And he said, on behalf of the University of Cincinnati and Bearcat Athletics, he said he wants to sincerely apologize to the BYU community and to members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And then he says the use of offensive or religiously derogatory language by a group of fans is unacceptable and doesn't reflect our values. And so the question is what happens next? I actually was totally intrigued that, just weeks earlier at Texas Tech, they had the basketball coach stand up before the game and actually tell all the student section, hey, we're not going to do that. So there was something that was preemptive about that actually made a difference in that setting. And so this is something that university officials have to grapple with. It's something as a society we have to grapple with. We have a lot of derogatory speech going on right now. We have a very divisive society, and this is symptomatic of a bigger problem.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us and sharing that story with us, Sarah. This is Sarah Weaver, editor of the Deseret News, and just talking about a couple who were from Michigan but who drove to Cincinnati to watch this football game, but they were actually people who were hit in that church fire and shooting in Grand Blanc, Michigan.
Not that much earlier.
8 weeks ago.
They come into this setting thinking, oh, this will be a fun football game, and they see some of the same poor choice of language.
Merry Christmas to us.
Seriously.
So we are going to switch gears. It's 2 days until Thanksgiving. But today is the 25th, which makes it 1 month until Christmas.
Good heavens.
We'll be back with today's KSL story of kindness. Stay with us.
The holidays are just around the corner, and Western Nut Company is here to make your gifting a breeze. From our beautiful gift baskets and nut boxes to our famous in-house fudge and brittle, we've got treats for every taste bud, crafted with the highest quality ingredients. Corporate gifting, that's our specialty. Just send us your list and we'll handle the rest. Beautifully packed, shipped with care, and guaranteed to impress. Calling all office managers or executive assistants. Call Western Nut now and let us make your holidays a little less nuts. But we actually do want you to eat more nuts. For 60 years, Western Nut has been a proud Utah tradition. Stop by our downtown shop for unique gifts, glittering ornaments, festive decor, and so much more. Western Nut Company, more than just the best gifts in Utah. We're a holiday tradition, in-store or online at westernut.com, where quality meets tradition, and every gift is packed with love.
$1.5 trillion is parked on the sidelines. Projects that would help create good-paying American jobs are stuck in years of burdensome reviews. Permitting reform would unlock over 650 major U.S. infrastructure projects, from new roads and bridges to bringing more energy online. With faster, more efficient permitting, we can unleash America's economic potential. Let's move from waiting to building. Ready, set, let's build. Paid for by Business Roundtable.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Brian's headed to the basketball court, but he's sick of this check engine light. So he goes to AutoZone for the free Fix Finder service.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Where a friendly AutoZoner reads the light in just a few minutes and gives him a detailed report.
No big, just a loose gas cap.
And gets him to the court with a tight gas cap and tighter defense. The free Fix Finder service at AutoZone. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Quiet down, here she comes.
Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now, the company's changed. Or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So, what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan? Now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan today. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. See website for details.
This is Derek Miller, speaking on business. Farm Bureau Financial Services helps people prepare for life's what-ifs. They provide insurance and financial planning that gives families and business owners peace of mind, confidence for the future, and the right support. Farm Bureau Financial Services agent Felicia Wright joins us with more.
At your local Farm Bureau Financial Services office, I understand that protecting what matters most isn't just about insurance. It's about having the right strategy. I'm here to help you safeguard your family, home, business, and goals. Whether it's through auto, home, life, business coverage, or even investments, we'll create a plan that fits your unique needs. I believe in building relationships, not just policies. That means taking the time to listen, understand, and be there when it counts. Wherever life takes you, we'll navigate it together. Because you deserve more than coverage, you deserve confidence and peace of mind. Let's build a strategy that grows with you now and into the future. Visit me in Sandy or call 801-233-3176. Registered representative, securities and services offered through FBL Marketing Services, LLC, affiliate of Farm Bureau Financial Services, member SIPC, Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company.
By supporting Utah families and businesses, Farm Bureau Financial Services helps strengthen communities, create financial stability, and provide the confidence people need to pursue their goals and build a secure future. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
The new Inside Sources.
Okay, so today's the 25th of November, meaning it is 2 days before Thanksgiving. We've been talking a lot about Thanksgiving, but it's also 1 month.
It's the most
before Christmas. And Holly, I know you can't wait. You've been counting down the days since we met.
June.
Yes, since we met. And we're going to continue our KSL Kindness series this morning, powered by One Kind Act Today, a project by the Semnani Family Foundation. Learn more about this at powerofkind.org. Salt Lake County is making sure seniors aren't forgotten during this holiday season, and it starts with a single tag on a tree. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera explains.
When you walk into the Salt Lake County Government Center, you'll see a Christmas tree covered in tags, each one a wish from an older adult in our community. Afton January with Salt Lake County Aging and Adult Services says many of the people they serve are alone and can't even leave their home, which is why this effort matters so much to her.
Our clients are older adults who most often don't have any family, who live close by, who are isolated and often are homebound and can't get out of the house.
Each tag lists a simple request like toiletries, warm clothes, or a grocery gift card. You can get involved and take a tag at 21st South and State. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
And just a reminder to our listeners that if you want to do that, the deadline to return them is Monday, December 1st, which is next Monday.
Yeah, we did talk about this earlier, and it seems like such a great idea. We don't think about, I mean, you think about
Kids,
every child.
right?
Every child
Toys.
should be dealt with at Christmas. Every child needs something for Christmas, but we don't think about our aging adults, especially those that are alone or homeless, and what's available to them. They wake up on Christmas morning like any other day, or are they going to get something? And so a simple idea, the Salt Lake County Government Center Christmas tree with tags, just pull a tag off and it'll give you an idea of what a senior member of our society would like for Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. And, we just have so many great opportunities. And I think I mentioned to you that I dropped off 60 cans of vegetables yesterday for just a project locally where they were trying, it was a real estate group, they were trying to feed 200 families. And when I walked into the gym at the school where they were collecting supplies, it was really impressive, right? So 200 turkeys and 200 bags of gravy and 200 sets of rolls. It was really quite fun.
Yeah, we talked about the 27,000 pounds of food items that the Church
Donated
of Jesus
to-
Christ
yeah.
of Latter-day Saints donated to the University of Cincinnati just this last weekend after the BYU Cougars beat the Cincinnati Bearcats. They at least gave them a big prize on their way out the door.
Yeah.
The biggest donation
that's-
they'd ever received, probably.
That's right. And yesterday, remember, we talked about this really briefly, but the Miller Family Foundation hosted a Thanksgiving event for Utah's homeless. They served around 5,000 meals, which was more than they have ever done before. And then they also offered haircuts and legal aid and stuff for kids to do. And so that was another great thing that just happened in our community.
There's more of a need for this than ever, and I applaud the groups that get out and do that and help those that are homeless, that help those that are we do homeless court once a month, and we get out and you have groups that are doing haircuts.
Oh, yeah.
We have a judge that actually shows up on scene. We give them meals. It's just such a great time, and people are just standing up to the plate more this year than ever because let's face it, our government hasn't done as much as it could have and has in the past.
Well, and I love this time of year where people tend to look for opportunities and that we've had the ability to highlight some of these kindnesses that people have done. I do have some fun facts.
No surprise at all.
So November 25th, 1960, there were a couple of sisters in the Dominican Republic who were assassinated by henchmen of the dictator. They had been active in movements against the Trujillo regime. They were beaten, they were strangled, they were placed in a jeep that was then driven off a cliff, so it kind of looked accidental.
Word.
Yeah, right. That is my way of telling you that today honors their deaths as the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women.
Oh, that's wonderful that they have something to commemorate that and
Yeah.
something to think about because that sounds about as bad as it gets.
It is. And, according to a report by the United Nations, 19% of women between the ages of 15 and 49 have experienced physical and or sexual violence by an intimate partner. We've talked about domestic violence in our state.
1 out of 5.
In some cases, of course, we know the violence will end in the death of women. But this is to look overall. And in 2018, I remember reading about this, but in 2018, about 150,000 people showed up in Rome to participate in a march there to protest for not only women's rights, but to eliminate violence against women. So that's today's day.
That's a topic that comes up a lot. Domestic Violence Week, Domestic Violence Month, and I'm glad that more and more groups, more and more agencies are taking that seriously.
Yeah, I have a little sound clip I want you to play.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer
This sounds like
had
an
a very
oldie.
shiny nose.
It is an oldie. Do you know
And
who
if you
who this
ever
is?
saw it,
I can't think of it.
Gene Autry.
say it
Oh wow.
So on this day, so this is, I think this is fun. So on this day, Gene Autry's single, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, appeared on music charts. So songwriter named Johnny Marks adapted the poem written by his brother-in-law, which I didn't know, Robert L. May, who wrote the story Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Now, when he wrote that story, he actually wrote it for Montgomery Ward department stores. Remember those? They used to be a thing.
Right, yes.
Now they don't exist anymore.
Okay, so you shared the day.
This is the day that the music that was released, the day it hit charts.
What year?
1949.
Okay, yes, I was
A
I was hanging-
long time
hanging
ago.
by a
Sorry.
thread there. Yeah.
Yeah.
1949, yeah.
1949.
Because that sounded that's a cool soundbite.
Yeah.
And when you said Gene Autry, of course, that's a very recognizable voice.
That's right. So this story, the original Rudolph, in fact, if you've ever seen him, and they've reissued like versions that look like the authentic. Like the Rudolph is he's not quite as friendly looking as we envision him now, but that was written specifically for a department store.
Well, if you had a red nose and everyone was making fun of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, on this day in 1955, race segregation is forbidden on trains and buses between U.S. states. So that was a Supreme Court decision, and it was interstate commerce, and they said because there were different states who were discriminating, this was in 1955, said you can't do that anymore.
The feds are always a step ahead of the state when it comes to issues like that.
The feds are
because they can be.
ahead.
Right.
Yeah, right. So we still have ongoing conversations about what they can and can't do. On this day in 2016, Fidel Castro actually died. He was one, if you remember, he was a revolutionary in Cuba. He was first prime minister and then a president, and he was president from 1976 to 2008.
He was around forever.
Like he just said he's just extended his term right to last forever. He died at 90, so he actually had stepped down before he passed away. But he was one where it's like, is that guy ever going to die?
Right. And popular with the people in Cuba. I mean, let's face it.
I actually have one other piece of information about somebody who died, but they just barely died. And her name, I've got to find her name. Hold on. She's the oldest survivor. She was the oldest survivor of the Tulsa race massacres. Her name is Viola Fletcher, and she died at age 111. 111.
The Tulsa race
massacre. Yeah, so that is, we've talked about that really briefly, but that happened in 1921 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and she was somebody who, after that, she became an activist, and for many years, including recent years, was really advocating for reparations for the attack, and they never came in her lifetime, but she spent basically 100 years trying to advocate for this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, if you're traveling this weekend, remember there to expect some delays. We spoke earlier today with UDOT's John Gleason about what to expect.
A lot of people are taking a 5-day weekend, and so kids are getting out of school half day for a lot of kids today, and so travel plans start this afternoon, and we could see travel on I-15 especially ramp up, between the afternoon hours, 3 o'clock to 8 p.m. is where we'll see that peak, but especially during the evening commute, 4 to 6. And we're anticipating southbound I-15 will probably see about 20 minutes of additional delay compared to a normal day.
That's it for Inside Sources today. Midday with Maria Chaleos is up next with all of today's news, including the legislature's plan to appeal Utah's newly appointed congressional maps to the state Supreme Court and a special session to address the matter. Stay right here on KSL News Radio.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good